But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest. Into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is Tuesday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are. And the nights are, of course, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And what are those things? There's too much, so we have to sum up. Those things we're not allowed to talk about are aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down, which of course we do. The more you pay attention, the more it all makes sense. It all makes sense, at least in some in some upside down version of sense, if you know what I'm saying. Double plus good. So that's what we're doing tonight. As always, as you know, this is not the answer show. Once in a while we do the answer show, but that's a new thing, and that's something that's become a thing recently. And I very much liked that we did the answer show the other night, because it was definitely a way to sort of step out of the shoes of, hey, let's ask questions and let's just start giving answers, because answers are easy, and and sometimes the answers really aren't easy. But anyway, in any case, so this show is the question show, and what that means is a lot of things. It just means that, you know, we should be allowed to question the world we live in. We should be allowed to actually, question the narratives of a dirty, lying dog media, right? We should be allowed to question the motives of politicians and all the rest of that, right? All of that, how it kind of fits into this conversation as we go. And as you know, like I said, it being the question show, we're allowed to be wrong. It's part of the concept of this entire thing. It's hey, either we value speech and ideas or we don't. And it to me, very few things are as cut and dry as that. But it's pretty simple to me. It's a pretty simple concept, a pretty simple philosophy. And so if you sort of line it up in those terms, then let the people speak, right? Just let the people speak. And sometimes they're going to say some things that make you cringe, and sometimes they're going to say some things that are just downright disgusting. But however, if you start cracking down on that type of stuff, the cringy, disgusting, you know what you get? you get a police state. You get, again, by trying to crack down on ugly ideas, you become the thought police. And it's not acceptable to me. It's never been acceptable, and it's one of the major reasons why we always did Troubled Minds. And so that's what's on my mind tonight. As we start discussing this stuff, it's simple, right, in basic concept, but it's also sort of more complicated than that, because life is complicated, isn't it? It's not as cut and dry as just boiling it down to one thing. Speech is an important thing, but of course there are other things that are also important. So, like I said, complicated. So, as usual. So as you know, being this is the answer show. I'm sorry, this is not the answer show. This is the question show. I don't have any inside sources. I don't have any Galactic Federation ambassadors. Shout out to Ryan and Gable for that funny commercial that he does on Fringe. No Galactic Federation ambassadors here. For me, I don't have any inside sources whatsoever except for you, right? You, literally, if you're out there listening to me right now on a Tuesday night through this digital darkness, then you may understand that conversations do go two ways. And the secret weapon of Troubled Minds has always been you, because I'll bring a premise, we'll discuss all kinds of amazing things, but then your job is to bring some takes I haven't thought of yet. Your job is to consider things that maybe will take this conversation and turn it on its head, spin it sideways, inside out, and then throw it off a cliff. And let's say it gets a soft landing, hopefully, by the time we're done. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. We're not perfect, and that's just the way it goes. So this is my long-winded way of saying, call me. I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts as we talk about this idea tonight. And just a real quick brief on the idea before I finish my intro here is that we're going to be talking about social media. Talking about the Black Mirror mass media and what does this even mean? It's complicated, as usual, right? It's very, very complicated. And so we'll get into this tonight, and just the idea that, again, as part of living in the upside down, we absolutely do not value the things we should. And that's not saying as an individual, you as an individual, again, have the right to value things the way you think they should be. And this is not a judgment of individuals. This is a judgment of a media class. This is a judgment that would put profits before people. This is a judgment of a system that's supposed to be free market, and it's anything but. This is a judgment of many things, and of course, a conversation. And if you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. And you can also click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website of the show. And the phone number is on top of the website. The Discord link is on top of the website, and you can, easy stuff. If you're looking for anything Troubled Minds, just go to troubledminds.org. Easiest way to find all the things, the podcast feed and everything else. So social media, etc., so on. So all right. So that's a good way to start here. We are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Watching all the chat in all the places. Okay, and what that means is I'm looking for your ideas as we go, and looking to kind of just expand my idea of what maybe this idea tonight. So reading those chats. Also, please join the Discord at fringe.fm/chat. That will give you a direct invite. And also, please download the Fringe app. You can find that at Android or Apple App Store, and it's completely free. And the easiest way to listen to Troubled Minds is just smash the play button at precisely 7 o'clock Monday through Thursday, and you'll get me, and you'll get you, you'll get us. And there we go. All right. So I think that settles it down. That gets us to where we need to be. So this idea, right now, again, I'm calling this Scrying the Social Contagion, Archons and the Black Mirror Media. Now, why? Well, we talk about this all the time, right, on this show. All the time, how we get the idea of this mass media that wants us to live under this blanket of fear, all right? And so we've talked about some of the reasons why in the past. Why do they want this? Why is it in the best interest of the ruling class, the elites, the media, these people that are in league with each other? Why is it in their best interest to keep us afraid? And I think in the most basic maybe sense of this, it just seems like the real, not upside down, the real world and why we do live in the upside down is, I think the most basic thing is that they're actually afraid of us. Is that the elites, as some people call them, or the ruling class, the political class, the billionaires of the world, the Bill Gates or the deep state, the Anthony Fauci's, whatever you want it to be. There's so many people you could kind of pick out of this, and there's a reason why they want to police speech and police thought. And the most basic idea to me is that they're afraid of us. It's that whole, keep picking on the ants, right? Because, if you do and keep the ants in line, well, they can't revolt. And I'm not calling for a revolt, please. Anybody that's out there, my detractors that are like, I knew it, he's a violent bastard. No, I'm not. I'm not. It's just a simple concept. It's like, okay, they're afraid of us, and so they think by keeping us in a blanket of fear that we won't stand up for ourselves. All right, and that's part of it, I think. But I think it's also maybe more complicated, as usual, right? Things are extremely complicated in life, and if things were just easy, we would actually do what? We would do many things. We would be different. Things would be different if things were very easy. You could turn on CNN or Fox, and they'll give you answers. It's easy, right? Answers. Well, answers are not easy. All right. There we go. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go here. This is where I start tonight, because I think this is worthy of discussion. We've talked about this entire thing. Maybe not entire thing. We've talked about this idea, though, before. And this is brand new. This is just from a couple days ago from the New York Post, one of the other most trusted sources in propaganda, or I'm sorry, news. And this is true, though. How TikTok has become a dangerous breeding ground for mental disorders. All right, TikTok. We talked about TikTok, right? We've talked about TikTok, those 30-second videos where you pop on there and you're whatever you are, whatever it is you are for 30 seconds, you're a 30-second superhero, right? And you can just do, you can cater to short attention spans. You can make straw man arguments. You can, again, hide from conversations because, well, you're not taking phone calls, which we're taking phone calls here, 702-957-1037, right? So there's that. There's all that. But then it's, again, like I said, it's more complicated. It's always more complicated. And so here we go. Let's talk about TikTok and mental disorders and why this is, well, a thing. And we'll get to, don't worry, we'll get to the Archons and the Black Mirrors a little bit later. But check this out. A new group of social media stars are surging on TikTok. Mental health influencers. Most of them are teen girls and young women who post videos of themselves experiencing symptoms like Tourette's tics or rapid switches from one personality to another due to borderline personality disorder. Others, often without any medical credentials, post videos that help viewers self-diagnose their own mental conditions. All right? These videos are getting billions of views, billions with a B. On TikTok alone, the hashtag BPD for borderline personality disorder has 3.7 billion views. Hashtag bipolar, 2 billion views. And hashtag DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, about 1.5 billion views just on TikTok, right? Just on TikTok, okay? This continues from the article here on the New York Post. Recently, psychologists have noticed a wave of adolescent girls also claiming to suffer from Tourette's syndrome and rare mental health conditions such as borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, conditions not typically seen in the teen demographic. And a common denominator between many of these symptomatic girls has been identified. Consuming mental health content on TikTok. All right. You see what's going on here? You see, so as we start, what is this, right? What exactly is this? And this is what I'm talking about tonight. All right. As we begin, is it possible to have what's known as a social contagion? And a social contagion, of course, is exactly this. Let's get you the definition here because I'm prepared like that, because that's what pros do. Social contagion, the spread of ideas, attitudes, or behavior patterns in a group through imitation and conformity, also called behavioral contagion. All right. A social contagion. Okay. Now, we've talked about this before. I don't know if algorithm is out there, but he talks about the mind virus quite often. And this is sort of the same idea, right? In terms of, just all these things that we're always talking about, right? They tell us if we see UFOs, Well, for instance, UFOs they're not real, right? If UFOs are not real. If you see lights in the sky, it's not a real thing. It's a fake thing, okay? And if you do see it, then it's probably mass hysteria, right? It is a social contagion of UFOs, you see? A social contagion. Mass hysteria is what they called it, right? And so, again, back to that same thing. Every time this comes up, I'm reminded of the Colorado drone sightings just not a year ago or so, right? Where everybody was seeing these things in the sky, these like sort of 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 like just drones hovering out there in the night sky like they were watching something, like they were waiting for something in Colorado, okay? And sort of rural areas where there's not a lot of people around, but people driving them down the highway, they were seeing these things, okay? Even so much they would call 911, right? And nobody was really at the time saying these were UFOs. They were saying they're drone swarms, okay? They were saying that there's a whole bunch of weird drones kind of hanging out over on the hillside, and it's like they're watching something, waiting for something, right? And even so much that it got 911 calls, they dispatched the police and the county sheriff out there, and they were looking for these things, okay? And so they did have law enforcement see some of them. They did log some of this stuff. But in the end, right, as this sort of went away and just faded out of the zeitgeist for a moment, or maybe forever, they basically determined that it was a case of mass hysteria, right? One person said it, then suddenly another person saw it because one person said it. It got media attention, and the cops were called, and then the cops were talking about it. Then everybody was talking about it, and it became mass hysteria. And they tried to tell us, right, that, oh, by the way, those people that initially saw those things, they didn't see them. It was this idea of a social contagion, right? Except different, mass hysteria. But notice how they can use it one way against us and say, no, you didn't see what you saw. That was something else, right? That was in your brain, kind of sent to you by some other person thinking or talking about it, right? That's the first thing. But what about this? What about the social contagion of TikTok? What about the social contagion of social media in general, including, you got it, Facebook, Twitter, name them all. You got it, all the way down the line. Twitch, this whole idea that suddenly somehow, because people are under this, what would you call it? A sort of sense of unease, fear, constant fear from media, constant fear from social media, bullying from people that think that if you don't think politically like them, that you're a racist or you're an idiot or both. Yeah, right? Gaslighting. This is all just a bunch of BS, if you ask me. Okay? And instead, here's what we get. We get, once again, we've talked about this. I'll get to that. I got some articles about this as well. Instagram in particular is literally attacking the idea of the human self, right? The idea of the human psyche, that we have the right to be different than each other, right? That we all shouldn't look like Barbie dolls or Ken dolls, right? Whatever idealization of a human being is, we don't have to be that. By the way, those people, those dolls, probably have mental health issues as well, as much as dolls can have, if you know what I'm saying. And so my point is, we're supposed to be different. We're supposed to look different. We are supposed to think differently. But it doesn't mean, back to this division media and all the rest of this BS, it doesn't mean we have to hate each other, or we have to hate ourselves, or we have to aspire to something that we're not. How about we embrace who we are instead? How about we start there? Start at home with our own 2 feet and our own 2 arms and our own brain and our own ideas of where we want to take ourselves, imperfections and all. How about we start there? I digress. A little soapboxy. I apologize. Let's get back to this. Now, what's going on? So recently, psychologists have noticed so here we go. I just read that. So in one case, Caroline Olvera of Rush University Medical Center in Chicago researched numerous girls with tics all blurting out the word beans in English accents. All right? Tics. Like, not TikToks, actual like tics, like Tourette's tics. Blurting out the word beans in English accents. All right? Okay. even some who don't speak English. As it turns out, a British Tourette's influencer with over 14 million followers manifested the exact same beans tic. Beans. You see? What's going on? If this isn't a social contagion, what is? This is wild. And so not only are we actually beginning here with this discussion on TikTok and these TikTok attention spans, as I like to call them, and this idea of diagnosing yourself with Tourette's because you say beans in a English accent like a TikToker with millions of followers. Really? This is where we're at, right? This is where we're at. And so my point is, it's not just the fault of these young girls that are manifesting these things, because they are, all right? But also, what pressed them to seek attention from TikTok? We've talked about this before. What pressed them to become Tourette's or mental health influencers? I hate that term so much, influencers, right? And we've talked about this in the past on the news show as well. They're terrified of influencers. They're terrified of us. And I mean I mean the elites, right? I mean the political class. I mean basically that you can just hop in your damn bedroom or whatever on a microphone and get on the internet and talk about the BS they're trying to feed us. They're terrified of this. They're terrified of this. Okay, and so I digress a little bit again. Back to this idea of the social contagion. Now, if we're actually talking Tourette's. Now, Tourette's is extremely rare. It's not one of those things where you just watch a TikTok video and suddenly you got Tourette's. What is this about, right? Now suddenly, not only that, we get this other stuff. We get bipolar, we get dissociative identity disorder, we've got borderline personality disorder, we get all the rest of this stuff happening with young people. And why do you think this is? Because everybody is under duress. Everybody has the media's boot on their neck, mine included, trying to tell us the end of the world is tomorrow. Trying to tell you, be afraid of the contagion, the actual contagion that's out there, the virus, right? The term going viral means something. And in this case, it means something you should be very, very afraid of. Do you understand what I'm saying here? How on God's green earth do you watch a TikTok video and suddenly get Tourette's? Seriously? Okay, all right, let's read just a little bit more of this and then we'll take a quick break. So the question becomes, all right, the questions for tonight, as I soapboxed a little bit, little tangent, little back and forth here. But the question is, do you think in any capacity whatsoever, this idea of the social contagion can actually spread rare personality disorders? Number one. Number two, what do you think is causing this idea where people watch a TikTok video and suddenly become mentally ill? Or is this all just a big QAnon LARP? All right. What's going on here? I'm confused, legitimately confused. So we're going to get to Scrying, we're going to get to Archons, we're going to get to the Black Mirror media and the rest of this as we go tonight. But that's the question. That's where I begin. Is it possible through this social contagion to spread actual personality disorders through a TikTok video? I'm sorry, but it seems like BS to me. And that's what's on my mind tonight. As we go, of course, we're going to take this all ways and every way because that's what we do on Troubled Minds. But this is where we begin. This is how a conversation begins, and this is what we're talking about this evening. If you want to be part of this discussion, we're going to get to the Black Mirror media, we're going to get to Archons, and we're going to get to staring into your smartphone day and night. As they say, you stare too long into the abyss, and the abyss stares back. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. And don't go anywhere. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. More Scrying the Social Contagion, Archons, and the Black Mirror media when we return. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And tonight, we're taking your phone calls as we discuss this idea. Do you think it's possible to actually catch some sort of mental disorder by simply watching a TikTok video? There's more to this. Of course, what's causing us to say we have all kinds of different disorders on TikTok and become mental health influencers? Like, what in the world is really going on with this? There's a ton here to discuss. There's a ton to think about. But what causes this? Okay, I call hogwash. Okay, I do not think you can get Tourette's by watching a TikTok video. I do believe you could have, let's say, an unhealthy obsession with, an influencer, and I hate that term so much, and maybe want to be exactly like them. I think maybe that could be the case. We've seen that all the time. People acting like fools because celebrities act like fools, right? We've seen tons of that stuff. So how real is that? That's what I want to know. If you want to be part of this discussion tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we'll put you on the show just like this. Let's go to, looks like Sarah in North Carolina. Welcome to Troubled Minds. You're on with Mike. Go right ahead. What's on your mind tonight?
I think, these kids want to be, accepted. So I think it just gives them something so they feel connected with people, because they're not connected with people at home. Where are their parents at? The parents are off on their cell phones, and that why not feel a connection to somebody?
Even if it's an unhealthy mental health broken connection, it's a connection nonetheless, isn't it?
It is, and kids are so impressionable. They don't realize, and especially teenagers. I mean, think about when you were a teenager.
I was crazy.
What was going on inside my body or who I was. Yep. So,
same.
You're feeling like that. You can't talk to your parents about it, but you have all these kids on here doing crazy stuff. Why not? I just think they want to be accepted.
Agreed, 100%. And so do you think this idea of a social contagion isn't actually really taking over some sort of tick somebody has, like to have Tourette's or some sort of dissociative identity disorder? Instead, we are searching for connection any way we can get it, is what you're saying here.
Yeah, that's what I think. I'm taking psychology now, and what I do know is you don't just catch a mental illness because you're watching a TikTok video. Not unless we are all being brainwashed by watching social media, which it's not far-fetched, I'm guessing, but that's just crazy. It's just crazy. I understand maybe depression because you're being taken away your cell phone for being grounded, or, because you're at work and you can't look at it. But Tourette's because you say being on TikTok, that's crazy talk.
Exactly. Thank you that I'm not the only one that's like, no, this is not a thing. Look, and there are a lot of other underlying reasons for this. Like you said, like I've said this, we've talked about this often on this show. If you're talking about, just like you said, when I was a teenager too, I was insane. I was out of my mind because, like I said, like you just described, your body's changing, your mind is changing, everything around you, your entire paradigm of what you thought the world was is changing. And look what we did to these young teenagers. We stole 2 years of their formative social life and put it in a box and said, oh, by the way, go ahead and do Zoom school, right? You're not going to see your friends because it's too dangerous, and you should be afraid. You should be absolutely afraid. I can't even imagine what level of insane I would be if they did that to me when I was like 12 years old. By the time you come back outside into the world around you at 14 years old, everything has changed.
You'd be terrified.
Yeah.
You'd be, it's just, I just think, the world is completely different now than it was, when probably most of us were growing up. I played with outside. I didn't play with the phone. I didn't play with video games. I played with outside. And that's the problem is these kids, they're not going outside, so they're getting zero vitamin D. They're stuck up in a room. Doing what? playing on that phone. And where are your parents? The parents aren't checking in with them to see what they're doing. It's just like, oh, well, they're up there being quiet. They're not bothering me. I mean, it's sad to say, but most parents nowadays, they don't want to be bothered by their kids.
Exactly right.
I don't know. It pisses me off.
You and me both. And this is exactly part of the reason. We've created this reason. This society has created this reason. Yeah. These politicians, these elites, all of this fear has created this. And look, imagine. So now we go straight from COVID, 2 years of COVID. Remember, 2 weeks to lockdown? 2 years later of just fear propaganda. And now we go straight into World War III. Hey, you may not even be able to see your adulthood. Like, this is fine, right? This is fine.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're scared, you're easier to control. If you are scared, you're easier to control. And the government knows that now because they did it. If this virus is going to kill everybody, you got to stay in your house. That's crazy to me. And I know we all did it because, we were all scared. But after sitting in my house for like 4 days, I'm like, this is some bullshit.
We're on the radio. Please refrain. Please refrain. But okay, no.
Sorry,
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, so I agree with you. There's a lot here. Again, we're breaking these kids. We're breaking them, and it's through our policies. Yeah. It's through our fear. It's through the media fear cycles. It's through social media. It's through Instagram. It's through the big tech companies. They're allowing this bullying, this online bullying to happen. This is all, again, like somebody said in the chat, destruction by design. And I got to tell you, it certainly feels like it. It certainly absolutely feels like it. Yep. Sarah, you are incredible. Where'd you find the show?
This is crazy. I was coming home from the beach and was thumbing through a podcast on, I think, Spotify or YouTube, and there you were, and I was like, oh, see, this is my jam right here.
Nice. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. What else do you have for us tonight?
All right. That's it. I just, I think parents need to start checking into their kids and don't diagnose yourself with mental health. That's just crazy.
Agreed.
Help the kids, man, because these are the people we're putting out into society. This is our future right here. So we want a bunch of male kids that are just socially and mentally
broken.
Destroyed.
Broken. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. I appreciate the phone call. You are welcome anytime. Please call back. Have a fantastic night. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening, Sarah.
All right. Thanks, Alba.
Thanks. Have a great night. There you go. Great way to start us off. And look, this is what we're talking about again. So not only we have this fear media, okay? And again, we have 2 years of lockdowns. Remember, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It became 2 years. We shut down business after business. We ruined people's lives. Who knows, untold suicides that aren't even part of this discussion, all right? Not because we can't quantify it like that, because the second we do, we're the enemies. We're the ones that say, no, we are breaking people. We're breaking people. Look, it is so difficult to be a person, just as a baseline, without this craziness of the last, you can even go the last 6 years of these just insane election cycles and this insane news coverage of like gaslighting and political garbage back and forth, left, right, all the BS, right? And if you don't believe this, you're a racist. If you believe that, then you're a communist. It's unbelievable to me. It's like, come on now, can we not try and actually make dissociative disorder a viral trap that comes out of our mouth through a gaslighting level of viciousness? I don't think it's necessary. And this is what I'm saying. And this is what I've been saying. And this is what I'm going to completely continue to say. We're breaking the world. And we're not breaking the world in terms of the environment. We're doing that too. We're also kicked that on top of, we're breaking the psyche of people. Being a person is hard. The second you start layering on level after level after level of fear and control, this is what we get. All right? This is exactly what we get. We get people self-diagnosing with Tourette's by saying beans in an English accent. And now we have Tourette's. What? By watching a TikTok video. No. Yes, great call from Sarah. I appreciate that very much. So look, this is the thing. You tell me. As always, this is a two-way conversation. I don't think I'm off the rails tonight. I'm going to get off the rails a little bit later as we go, all right? when I get to the Scrying, when I get to the Archons, and I'm going to do that. So the question becomes, all right, so the first question is, number one, do you think it's possible through this idea of the social contagion to actually catch some sort of mental disorder by watching TikTok videos, all right? First question. Second question is, what about this idea that we're the ones creating this? We're the ones actually doing these things and driving our teenagers, our young people, to become TikTok influencers with Tourette's, with dissociative, I can't even say it, identity disorder, right? Is this what's going on here? Like clearly you can't catch this from watching a video. You can emulate influencers, right? You can do that. So think about this. What in the world is really going on? This drives me insane. All right, so then the next level. All right, let's take this to the next level. All right, like somebody said, this seems like a planned destruction. Somebody said in the chat there, and it's true, right? It seems like a planned. Let's call it what's the term for that thing you can't really talk about? Let's call it a controlled demolition of the human psyche. Let's call it that. Because that sure as hell is what this seems like, doesn't it? And what I mean by that is when you start looking at things like this, again, back to the New York Post here, and just back to the headline, how TikTok has become a dangerous breeding ground for mental disorders, right? We no longer know how to make friends the old-fashioned way. We have to do it by commiserating about the mental disorders we earned watching TikTok, right? So, serious problem there. The second problem becomes, all right, now what about all this fear and control? Fear and control. Fear and control, right? We know, like I said, in the beginning, the most basic thing is they're afraid of us. The unwashed masses, the plebs, they're afraid of us, which is why they have to keep us afraid of something. And let me tell you, this is right out of 1984. Have you heard this? There's an individual in 1984. Everybody's heard of Big Brother, all right? He's the good guy. He's the guy who's always, the eyes are on you. The eyes of Big Brother are on you because he's looking after you, right? Big Brother is not there to invade your privacy, so they say in Orwell's 1984, okay? He's there to keep watch and make sure that, something terrible doesn't happen to you, all right? That's how they frame the surveillance state. It's for your own safety. It's for your own good. It's for your own mental health, so you can feel safe. All right. Well, the second individual, not Big Brother, is known as Emmanuel Goldstein. All right. Emmanuel Goldstein. Look it up. He was actually the anti-Big Brother in 1984, meaning he was the boogeyman. Big Brother, the surveillance state, was looking after you to keep you safe. All right. Emmanuel Goldstein was the antithesis of everything good. He was actually the enemy. And of course, nobody ever actually knew if this individual existed. He may have been completely concocted by the party to keep you afraid. Him and his agents were always out there looking to get you. Emmanuel Goldstein. And I'm telling you what, this is a broken sense of literally dystopian in 1984, straight out of Orwell. It's insane. All right. And then here we are again. Fear, 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 fear. How come I never turn on the news and have somebody just tell me things are going to be okay? How come? How come they never say that? How come? I'll tell you why. Because they don't want you to think that. Because if you think that, you'll go on and do whatever you were going to do. And you won't listen to them. What are your thoughts here? I'm going to get to the Archons. I'm going to get to this Scrying, the Black Mirror, and the Black Mirror media. We're going to get to this. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. We'll put you on the show. All right. So this happens in the next way. Okay. So we're talking about TikTok has become a dangerous breeding ground for mental disorders. They're saying now you can watch a TikTok video and now you have Tourette's. Congratulations. All right. Well, what about the next step that brought us here? That brought us again back to that idea that we've been just manhandled, just broken, again, controlled demolition of the human psyche. This is what's happening through fear and propaganda. And of course, bullying. By who? Not just our peers, because they're out there and they're loving to do it. They're waiting to do it. I got people that watch this show that hate watch this show because they're waiting for me to slip up and say one wrong thing. All right? And so they can go make the hate video. Right? Okay. Guess what? I'm human and I'm going to slip up. But guess what? Because you can pull one wrong sentence out of context from thousands of hours of me speaking off the cuff, unscripted, and try and paint me as some sort of monster. I will not be gaslighted by that terrorist tactic. I won't. Because I'm human and I'm allowed to make mistakes, and so are you. Okay? And that's what this is about. And I'm sorry if I'm a little fired up, because this pisses me off quite a lot. This really pisses me off quite a lot. Okay? All of this. Our peers destroying ourselves and each other. The media destroying ourselves and each other. The government destroying the human psyche and each other. What's going on here? Now, this is what you want to get into woo-woo territory? Here we go. Let's get into woo-woo territory. What about this? What about the idea that we are not only being watched by the government, by Big Brother, we are not only being watched by social media and our peers as they wait for us to slip up so they can make fun of you on social media, right? We are not only being watched by them, but what if somehow, some way, through the dark, scrying face of our shut-off smartphones and devices, we're being watched by something known as the Archons. Meaning that this entire thing is not an accident. Meaning that this whole thing is exactly as they've planned it. You've heard the term scrying mirror, right? You've heard the term black mirror. We'll get to that tonight. And so the question becomes, all right? The question becomes this. Let's add a second or third layer to this conversation. If there is a controlled demolition of the human psyche, who is perpetrating this against us? And so the question is that. However, the answers aren't so obvious, are they? I don't think they are. I think the answers are more and more complicated because is it the billionaires of the world? Is it the politicians of the world? Is it, I don't know, the Archons? Watching us through our scrying mirrors we carry with us everywhere. Watching us through our screens that, if you've noticed, once again, if you turn off your screens, they look very much like an obsidian black scrying mirror. Coincidence, you think? Is that a coincidence? You tell me. And notably, again, back to that actual term, it's been said that if you stare too long into the abyss stares back. Now imagine looking into an actual scrying obsidian mirror. Does that or does that not look very much like the abyss itself? And somehow, some way, we have in all of our pockets, probably as we speak, we have a very similar equivalent known as a smart device. The second you turn it off, it looks very much like we are staring into the abyss itself. So, of course, if that's the case, and the abyss stares back, what exactly is in that abyss? Is it a shared space of the netherworld? Is it a shared space of something spying on us? Big Brother on steroids, something cosmic or metaphysical, something larger than all human life put together. I don't know, where do you want to take that? Archons, the old ones? What's staring back? And do you think this is actually part of the plan? We'll get to that Scrying the Social Contagion, Archons and the Black Mirror Media. What do you think? What are your thoughts? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. Let's go to this real quick. Now, just to add this to the conversation as we keep on trucking tonight, this is from news.northeastern.edu. Academia. I love it so much. Why does Instagram have a negative effect on teenagers' mental health? And again, this has been bandied about quite a lot. I've talked about this quite a lot. All right? And here we are, literally knowing this. And then we wonder why our young people are getting Tourette's by watching TikTok's videos, right? Well, because we've social engineered this. We've set this up so that they don't have any other way. They don't. Here we go. Since at least March 2020, Facebook officials have known about Instagram. The photo-sharing app owned by Facebook has the power to make teenagers feel worse about their bodies, according to the internal report obtained by the Wall Street Journal. This is September 20 of 2021. All right. Quote, 32% of teen girls said that when they felt bad about their bodies, Instagram made them feel worse. Facebook researchers wrote in the presentation about the negative effects of Instagram, according to the journal. The effect may have as much to do with the mechanics of the app itself as with its audience, says Rachel Rogers, associate professor of applied psychology at Northeastern. The highly visual nature of social media platforms favored by younger people, TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram, put a social premium on appearance, says Rogers, who studies sociocultural influences on body image and eating concerns. At the same time, the adolescents drawn to them are still developing their sense of identity. All right? Yep. It's a quote. It's a bit like animals whose shells are still growing to protect them. It's a really vulnerable time. And exactly like Sarah said, I'm not going to put words in her mouth, but she said, no, here's what I said. Sorry. I said when I was a teenager, I was insane because I had no idea what the world was about anymore. You thought you had it sort of figured out as a kid, and then you don't. It's like the old switcheroo, right? Your body changes, your desires change. It used to be just a handful of jelly beans could make you happy. Well, then suddenly a handful of jelly beans maybe gave you a stomachache. But let me tell you, that girl down the street sure started to look pretty good, didn't she? You see what I'm saying? The world turned upside down in an instant. And you were trying to figure it out. I was certainly trying to figure it out. And so we have this. Instagram causing mental health issues for young people. And guess what? By the way, nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. So what the hell's really going on out there? Is it, as was said in the chat earlier, that maybe I took some inspiration from? Is this the controlled demolition of the human psyche? Is this exactly where they want us to be? And if that's the case, how do we get ourselves out of this mess? Love to hear your thoughts if you want to be part of the show tonight. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Put you on the show. There's a lot here. I understand. I'm throwing a lot at you, coming fast and hard with curveballs and sliders, high fastballs. But I have faith. I know you can hit it. Otherwise, I wouldn't bring it. If you want to be part of the discussion tonight, what do you believe? Is it possible to get Tourette's from watching TikTok videos? And is this, as I described, an entire takedown, a controlled demolition of the human psyche? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More Scrying the Social Contagion, Archons and the Black Mirror Media, and your calls. The phone lines are lighting up when we return. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds on the way. Be right back. we are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon. Aliens.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing fantastic. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
All right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Yo ho, welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter. And, of course, we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, you'll never guess what's on my mind. Yep, you got it. Scrying the social contagion. What exactly is a social contagion? What is scrying? How come they're saying young people are catching mental disorders a la, dissociative identity disorder? How about Tourette's from watching TikTok videos? Do you think there's something socially planned about this? Like I was saying, do you think it's possible that this is actually a controlled demolition of the human psyche? Love to hear your thoughts at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show just like this. We have literally got the phone lines full, so if you're trying to get through, go give me just a second, and we'll burn some calls off here and give you some space. But there's a lot to this. Again, is there a metaphysical aspect? These scrying mirrors that we carry around in our pockets, meaning, of course, they talk about black mirrors, right? The obsidian scrying mirror of days past. Well, you know what? If you look at your smartphone or any screen now when it's turned off, what exactly does it look like? Yeah, it looks like an obsidian scrying mirror. And the question becomes, if you stare too long into the abyss, which looks exactly like this, the abyss stares back. So what exactly is staring back at us? 702-957-1037. Let's go to Caesar in Delaware, it looks like. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Go right ahead. Hello. What's your first name? Do I got it right? It's Caesar, right?
I'm gonna try to keep it. Oh, Devious. Hey,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Devious, go right ahead. Sorry, what's up, brother?
Hey, all right. So, I've watched TikTok kind of grow and morph into what it has turned into. And when I first started using it, it wasn't as popular. But then, you could see what it was starting to morph into, and it's turned into sort of a cesspool right now. But in a way, it comes back to the parents. A lot of this stuff comes back to the parents and society, because we have allowed for this stuff to fester. We need to take control as parents of our kids and stop letting these politicians. Some of these politicians don't even have kids, and we have to stop letting these politicians tell us how to control our kids and things like that, and create laws that benefit them versus basically taking the rights away from the parents. I don't like that. I don't agree with that. And we need to come together and take control of that part of it as a society. And now going back to this whole thing, because with the Archons, there was as much as TikTok is a cesspool, but it also has hidden gems in there. And that's one thing that I always told people. Like, if you're looking for like certain information, because the algorithms are right now, they're more like how can I put it? It's set up in such a way now that it's meant to keep you trapped. So, for example, like let's say if you look up for something that's based on a lot of research that's based on hate or something like that, well, then it'll continue to perpetuate, even though you're trying to do a little bit of research around that area, but it'll just continue to keep feeding you that. So yeah, in the way it does, kind of like it could turn you into a radical. So you have to be careful. And the fact that it started as a kids app and then it ended up getting hijacked by adults, it's probably a good thing, you know, because now a lot of these adults that got involved, they don't want their kids on it, but they're using it to get information. Some of them are using it to get information, but they have to be careful because there's a lot of misinformation in there. As for the Black Mirror, there was this one influencer on there that was recording himself, and then you could see like something was staring back at him, which is crazy because I was like, when you start talking about the Archons and all of that, it kind of like sparked this memory that I had. But I was watching this one influencer, right? I'd rather call them a content creator, and sure. there was a shadowy figure. And it wasn't even what he was watching. But it was kind of like reflecting off his glasses. So he was basically showing what he was recording. I mean, what he was watching on the on his cell phone, and then he'll put it on the reflection, like it was reflecting off his glasses, and then you could see something like it was staring back at him. And I had something similar where. Because I don't even use I use mostly like streaming and stuff like that for like television content and stuff like that. And my TV actually froze. It was like a white screen, like the internet kind of like got goofy and goofed up, and so there was like a white screen. But then you could see a silhouette of a person in the screen.
That's creepy.
So it might be something. Yeah, so there might be something to this stuff. I don't know.
Impossible to say. Impossible to say. That's why we talk about it, right? Let's throw it out there again and consider all the things. Do you think this is intentional? Like I said, a controlled demolition of the human psyche. Again, thanks for the inspiration from the chat there. Do you think that's what's really going on? Like this is all planned somehow? Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer. This is think about who owns think about who owns TikTok, right? Like I don't want to say something get you in trouble or anything, but think about who owns TikTok, right? So there's a lot of powers out there that's kind of like trying to destroy us from within. And I always told my son that, like, there's like when I used to notice certain things, I was always telling him, I was like, hey, do you see what's going on there? You see how they're trying to like destroy the family from within? And you need to get an understanding that I'm not just saying things to you just to say it to you. Like it's because I see something that you don't see, you know. And a lot of us need to stop sugarcoating to our kids and start showing them the truth, so they can have a better understanding, so they're not taken for suckers, man. Exactly. You know? Amen to that. Amen to that. Per usual, my friend Devious. This is Dark Devious, actually. He always on the ball. Thanks for being you, man. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for caring, bro. Like we've talked about this stuff. You and I. We talked about NFTs and all kinds of stuff. And by the way, he's a wealth of knowledge. Dark Devious here on NFTs and crypto and stuff. Not a financial advisor, not financial advice, nor am I. But if you join the Discord, he's got a channel in there. He has a channel where he talks about this stuff constantly, and is always putting stuff in there. And so if you're interested in that, Dark Devious, here's your man. Got to roll, brother. We got tons of calls behind you. You were the best.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it. Have a fantastic night. Thanks for calling. Tell me Hung we said hi. Have a great one, bro.
All right.
Thanks a lot. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. Stark Devious, good friend of mine. Very good dude. And we're still talking about this idea of this social contagion. Meaning, of course, can you get some sort of mental disorder by watching TikTok? All right. I'm about to punch myself in the face just considering that to be possible, because I don't think that's possible. I think it goes way deeper than that. Love to hear your thoughts. One more time, 702-957-1037. Let's go to Big Y in Hawaii. Go right ahead, sir. You're on Troubled Minds.
Hey, how's it?
Good, man. Chilling. Just a normal Tuesday night, talking about crazy stuff on Troubled Minds. What are your thoughts?
Hell yeah, that's how it goes. So yeah. Well, I had this idea. It sprung to me. You know how I always am, trying to connect all your shows and make one giant web. You know, all the red yarn included. And so I just think, it goes back to kind of like the Saturn being in the original sun, and it being an Archon, one of the main ones, Yaldabaoth, and the Dharmata. It's also like they're supposed to be like supposedly one in this. Oh, sorry, disregard, not the Dharmata. The Demiurge. Dharmata is what I'm using for my story. But the Demiurge is supposed to be one and the same with Yaldabaoth, and it's an Archon, that was created outside of the heavenly spheres by Sophia without her counterpart. And so, that's why when it came to it, thought it was the only one in existence. I think there's just these connecting lines between these things. I mean, with the Saturn return, what I posted in the show chat, it talked about how, when it does return every time around your 29th year, 27th to 29th year, that's the reasoning, could be for the 27 Club. It also there's this waxing and waning period, when you're 7 as well as when you're 14. And in this chart, it talks about, these are primitive years where you learn, what's reality, what's not, what's mythology or fairy tale, or, what's right and wrong, what you can get away with. And that, you got to think of the age range kids are getting these phones at. And, if it is like a scrying mirror, which in my mind it is, what's the difference? They, from 7 to 14, then 14 all of a sudden, puberty hits on, and what you really think, what the way society really is, like you said, this whole shift of how the world is or isn't. I just think Saturn has a big deal to do with it, and the sooner they can get these things in these kids' hands so they can, emulate the intention energy that comes from the negative bullshit they feed us all day. It's just another way to suck in all that energy and consume. I think that's what this universe is truly based on, is consumption.
Yes, sir. Please watch the language on the radio. But yes, sir, you're spot on. 100%. And so I like actually where you're headed with this in terms of let's say a scrying mirror as your cell phone is not a metaphysical thing. It's a window into the world and into literally everything else the world has to offer, right? So like you said, when we were young, you couldn't just like fire up your smartphone and go watch pornography 24 hours a day. You can now. So it's like you said, as soon as they get, and that's just one example, right? I'm not a prude, don't get me that way. But what I am saying is that the access to not just good ideas, but bad ideas and things that break people in terms of TikTok, in terms of Instagram, in terms of just these ideas that are just not healthy for young people. They got access 24/7 to this stuff. It's pretty nutty. So I do like that I'm kind of taking it to the Archons, but what's the difference? If it's the mass media is basically a manifestation of the Archons, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, in the term of pardon my French, but the shit rolls downhill.
Hey, that's twice. That's twice. Please,
hierarchy.
Please don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh my God, apologize. The poop rolls downhill.
Perfect.
Long story short, I think it's the same thing with hierarchies. How if there are aliens or entities, extra-dimensional or extraterrestrial, that there's a higher order, and if somebody's in charge of them, or Anunnaki had a creator, God. So these things just play out on every level, just down the pipeline.
Yeah, it seems like it. It does seem like a lot of this stuff is connected, and I think that's the worst part of this, because if it is back to that controlled demolition of the human psyche, then we've got a problem. We got a serious problem here, and we have to demand it back. We have to say no. Like there's like corrupting innocence it's no longer acceptable. And but again, right? Like Sarah said when she called, where's the parents? Like Devious said when he called, where's the parents? Where are the parents? What is going on right now? But again, in many cases, it's not even their damn fault, meaning that, you can't watch the kids all the time. You know how the economy is. Some of us have to work 2-3 jobs just to make sure there's food on the table and a roof over heads. So, I mean, you can't even blame it directly on them. Like, it's broken. It's broken. This entire thing is broken. And guess what's happening? The state, the media, just this idea of the scrying mirror is raising children. And that, my friend, is a serious problem, isn't it?
Right. It goes beyond, it takes a village. And now we're giving, Google the ability to parent your child. I mean, it goes even. I talked to my daughter too about it. We had to take her phone away recently, just because she becomes this person who is unreachable at times, and that's not okay. So and it's funny, you take it away for a couple of days, and holy crap, her room's clean. Oh my goodness, you've done this, you've done that, and it's really cool. But now, am I supposed to give you this back as a privilege that I think you've earned, or what? I mean, so it's tough as a parent, like you said, to dabble with that because you have these, like you said, content creators who have come in not only with, like you said, Tourette syndrome, but other social disorders as well, and other, personality disorders, that it's cool to have these. I don't know about you, Mike, but I looked up to Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, guys like Barry Bonds, sports guys, but there's the musicians too. I didn't, so we had a different access then, but I didn't think it was cool to, jump in cahoots with all the people that thought Ted Bundy was cool. You know what I mean? But that's kind of what this is now we're associating people that have like chronic disorders as it's cool to have this and you want this because with almost like with rappers nowadays, it's I'm going to be a rapper so I can sell drugs, not I had to sell drugs to become a rapper. And that just is backwards and it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
And yes, it is okay to talk about things and it's good to find strength in finding help. That is cool. But there's a lot of people that deal with this stuff, and they don't think it's cool.
Amen. You were on the game tonight. I appreciate it, Big Y. We got calls behind you. I got to bounce. Go get to the beach, my man. We'll catch you for the archive later.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you much. You guys have a good night.
You too. Appreciate the call. There you go. That's Big Y in Hawaii. He's headed out to the beach. Yeah. Hell yeah. How about that? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Look, we're talking about this idea, right, of these TikTokers, these influencers, exactly like Big Y was saying, like instead of this idea that we're looking up to, good people as role models, the role models today are taken off of 30-second videos on TikTok where people are saying, I have a mental disorder, right? I have a social disorder. I have an actual problem. And I get it, right? Like Big Y said, we need to have outreach programs and we need to have these things and we need to be cognizant that people are not always right, okay? Mentally right. Whatever that term means, okay? Right for themselves. They're not. Okay, but then here we go, is we have this entire troop of people coming up with billions of views on TikTok that are broken by any stretch of the imagination because they don't know what reality is supposed to be like anymore, because of the COVID lockdowns, because of World War III, because of the crazy social media happening with gaslighting and calling people racist. And my God, the amount of just nuttiness going on there. What are your thoughts? 702-957-1037. Thanks for waiting. I appreciate it very much. Let's go to Joseph in Iowa. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. Go right ahead.
Hey.
Hello. Good evening.
Am I on?
You're on, sir. What's happening, brother?
All right, sweet. So I was thinking about like a dedicated server, like, again, kind of like the Abyss thing. Like, even like maybe they're pushing everyone to, voice their voice on the internet, and it's just a lot. And then I was watching TikTok even earlier today. I don't watch it a long time. I just go on there to see if like anything happened on my TikTok video that I made. And then there there was like a dog bite video, and it kind of got me thinking about the show today. Like maybe they're testing, like with the stressors. Like they always do like little tests in school. Like they do variations in school and stuff. If someone was to be doing this on purpose, like would they be testing us like for something? Like maybe they would consider it like a dog bite, like, because if you get a dog bite, you don't know where it's from, you would have to get treated for that dog bite for all kinds of things that you never know could exist, you know. But if you find that dog, then and this is like kind of that's I don't really know where I was going with that, but you kind of get what I'm saying, right? It could be like a test.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think this is all a big test. I think this is like a test of humanity. Like we're finding ourselves in this just weird spot where we don't even know what it means to be human anymore. And I think, like some people said in the chat there, like they're setting us up for transhumanism. They don't want us to know, because if we value humanity, right, then we reject that stuff. And we're like, no, like, look, if I'm not going to kick the bucket tomorrow, if I don't get robotic arms, I don't want robotic arms, right? Like that type of thing. But they want us younger and younger to be like, oh, by the way, let's do this and that and the other thing. And now you want robotic arms. And you're like, wait, though, do we need robotic arms? Like, you're young and you're healthy. Like, your arms are better than they're ever going to be your whole damn life. Why are you going to replace them now? It makes no sense, man. It just makes no sense. And that's part of all this, is that, well, once you devalue humanity, then the next step becomes you start worshiping at the church of science, right? And again, like I said, I don't worship at any church, right? I think the individual is sacred. The sanctity of the individual should be protected by all means. And, well, here we are, having this fight that doesn't make any damn sense as they're destroying our children. An entire generation.
Yeah.
It's broken, bro. It's broken. We got about 2 minutes for you. Go right ahead.
Well, I was going to say what I looked up to when I was a kid. Like, I kind of got into video games young. There was even, well, also I wanted to say they control everything. Like, they control the preschools, they control the schools. So that's also a thing. Like, it's like you come down to the parents, like they control the books and the images that are on the wall in a preschool. Like, if you're a preschool owner and you put something up on the wall that you're not allowed to, and someone comes in, like let's say like part of the state comes in and they see that and it's not part of the agreement, like you can get shut down.
Yeah,
So
like it's not sanctioned. It hasn't been approved. It hasn't been pre-approved as part of the brainwash cycle. Right?
Yeah, exactly. There's stuff like that. And there's some weird books too that they let go through there. And what was I saying before that? Yeah, I don't know. That's it, really.
All right. You're perfect. Your timing is perfect. Joseph here, a good friend of mine, has a YouTube channel called Hydro Host. Check it out. Links in the description. He does some short videos on original music and some other things. You're the best, Broseph. I appreciate the phone call. See what I did there, Broseph, Joseph. You're the best, bro. Thanks, yeah. Joseph, is what I meant to say. It came out Broseph. Your new name is Broseph. Have a great night, bro. Thanks for calling.
That works.
All right, man.
All right, peace.
All right, have a great one. Thanks a lot. 702-957-1037. Taking your phone calls as we discuss this idea. Can you get a mental disorder by watching TikTok videos? Can you get Tourette's or anything else because somebody else acts like it's cool? Is that, you probably can't even say that anymore. Acts like it's rad. You probably can't say that anymore. Acts like it's righteous. Down, kicking, funky, fresh. That's how old I am. I don't give a damn what the new term is. Here's what I do care about. If we are actually lining up and destroying the psyche of an entire generation through TikTok videos and influencers, I don't know what to say. I got a bellyache. 702-957-1037. What are your thoughts? Love to hear what's on your mind tonight. Be right back. More Trouble Minds on the way. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And tonight, we're taking your phone calls as we discuss this idea of the social contagion. What the hell does this even mean? They're saying that people are getting Tourette's from watching TikTok videos. I say hogwash. I think they want to look up to their peers who are influencers, who are content creators, who somehow, some way have been raised by a new generation of mass media brainwash, fear and loathing in the zeitgeist. And here we are, wondering what the hell is really going on. Love to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we'll put you on the show just like this. Let's go to my good friend, Robert in Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, the Robert. Go right ahead. What's on your mind tonight, my man?
Well, you're on fire tonight.
Thank you. I try to be from time to time because I don't want to lull everybody to sleep. So sometimes you got to wave your fist and scream and howl at the moon. What's going on, brother? How are you?
You'd have to be on. You'd have to be on something to fall asleep to the Tonight Show.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I don't know much about TikTok, but sometimes every day I like to get the Wall Street, the stock market analysis from different people on Facebook, because there's no financial stock market reporting on Rockfin, and there should be. They need to take care of that. They need to put some people on like that. But anyway, every once in a while when I'm scrolling through somebody, then I'll see a video. All right, and it turns out it's a TikTok video, and the only ones I've seen is, girls trying to teach how to do makeup, or clothes, picking clothes out, and the best ones though are the ones where they don't, the girls, the women don't wear bras, all right, and they dance, and and you see the jiggling, and I guess that's pretty much what TikTok is.
Sort of. It kind of started like that, and it became a lot of different things. Like Dark Devious was saying that it kind of did start that way. It was, kind of sort of, it was innocent. It, like, not to say that all of the things you just said could be, just derived as innocent because there are sick people out there. But point being is that it kind of started as just kind of like, people dancing and lip syncing to music and things like this, right? But now it's become all the rest of this stuff.
Fun.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Exactly.
It was fun.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, for sure.
All right. And now you've got Joe Biden's people getting in touch with TikTok influencers to get them to pass on the administration's propaganda of what's going on in between Russia and what's the other state? What's the other country?
Ukraine. Hey, am I to believe, Robert, you're not watching the news? Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm going to speak to that. But isn't that fascinating? He's going to hold these young people on TikTok and asking them to pass on the propaganda to their peers. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know about that?
Yes. We talked about it on the news show yesterday, or Monday. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, Monday. So
that's right. I was tuned to that.
Yes, you were. Hey, you heard that from me. See, because the news you watch is good news, isn't it, Robert?
Yes, it is. And I'll tell you, I'm very selective. What I would recommend people do, all right, you're right about that they generate fear. Because as long as you can keep that fear going, they started that with the 9/11, all right, and use that fear to gradually take away, one freedom after another, to allow them to spy on us, to do all these disgusting 1984 type things and they've only been able to get away with it because they keep jacking up that fear, all right. All you have to, nobody has to do that. You just shut it off, all right? And you go on the internet, all right? There's all kinds of voices on the internet, all right? some of them are not so trustworthy. But there's a lot of them that are, and you just pick out who you can trust. Use your common sense, who you can trust to give you the straight scoop, like we trust you, all right? And just get your news from them and get your opinion from them. I stopped watching CNN. I stopped watching MSNBC. I'm a Bernie Sanders socialist, all right? I'm probably to the left of Bernie, but I stopped watching them, all right? I stopped watching MSNBC when it was clear to me, almost right from the beginning, that they were lying to me about what was going on between Trump and Putin. This whole smear campaign, all right, to cover up something that the Democratic Party committee had done under Hillary Clinton. I stopped watching it. I knew, because and the truth about life is, and once somebody lies to you, you can never trust them again. To tell you the truth, you know that they're capable of lying. So if you know that these people are capable of lying, don't watch them.
Yeah, I can't remember the quote. It's a famous quote by somebody, and it goes a little something like this. I'm going to paraphrase because like you said it, and now I remember. It goes a little something like you just said. I'm not disappointed that you lied to me. I'm disappointed that from now on I can't trust anything you say. Right? That's the concept of what you're talking about. Right? That
touches my heart. That is exactly that. No finer words can be said on that. But you just shut it off. They're paid liars. Those people on cable news are paid liars, and people know that. That's what fascinates me. People really know that they're paid liars, yet they still tune in. All right? It's almost like they need their fix, like it's some kind of crack cocaine, when you can just don't pay attention to them. Right now they're CNN's in its glory because of that situation over there with Russia and what's that other country?
Exactly. And again, like I said on the news show, doesn't even matter. Like I said, if it's on the wrong side of a line, it's cool to butcher people. If it's on the right side of a line, you cross that line and we're going to fight back. Like that seems normal, right?
Those are Caucasian. That's a Caucasian nation, but it's okay for us to back the Saudis in their brutal, bloody murder of civilians in Yemen and Syria. All right. I mean, we've killed enough civilians, bombing civilians in Iraq and Libya. All right. I don't know. One thing I like about young people that we old people used to have, but we lose as we get older. And that's the ability to really, really be able to see clearly, bull crap from and hypocrisy. To be able to really, they know it right. Well, as soon as they hear it, they know it.
Yeah,
right? When I was that age, I was that good too.
Yeah,
but right now, what's happening?
Let me get in there. So they do have, when you're young, you have a finely tuned BS detector. That's for sure. But what happens is, right, with the indoctrination, with the mass media, with the doublethink, with the 1984 newspeak, with all the stuff, right, all the things they're trying to tell us, it ends up becoming, right, it's a dumbing down or numbing of that BS detector that used to be keen. Kids know if you're untrustworthy. They give you the eyeballs. They're like, what's up with this dude, right? They know. And, well, there we are. So go ahead.
Sure, that's why they can't get the young people to go to church. All right, because when I was growing up, church was a church. They taught you how to live your life, how to love people, and that sort of stuff. And then starting with Reagan and Jerry Falwell, the churches gradually over a period of several decades, told you who you can like and who you can hate. Kids see that hypocrisy. That's why they don't go. They tell you, look, you got a homosexual friend there. You should hate that friend because his life is against the Lord, and that doesn't make any sense because that's a good person.
Yeah, exactly.
To that young man.
Exactly.
Woman.
But again, back to that whole idea. We talk about this not a ton on this show, but there's still that whole right. Like we say that we value diversity, right? It's like the thing. It's like the human thing, right? We value diversity, but then you look at these political parties, and they don't at all. That's the last thing they do.
They don't
only
care about
value.
us.
Yeah, they only value your diversity if you agree with them.
They give us these social issues.
Yep.
All right, and they don't believe them themselves. The whole party, both the Republican and Democratic Party, are all upper middle class. Who buy that stuff? That's their thing, because they don't have to suffer what we're having to suffer right now with inflation and things like that. That doesn't affect them. All right, and then you have Stephen Colbert go on his show, and I used to love that guy. Go on his show and smugly tell his viewing audience, I'm all for what's that, Ukraine, and I'm willing to pay a couple, more money for gas, in support of Ukraine. I'm willing to do that. All right. Well, and besides, I drive a Tesla. All right.
Exactly.
What a smug son of a SOB.
Yes. Right? And so not only that, let me interject too. You're correct. So not only hasn't had his own rent increase because he probably owns his properties, his own rent increase probably 30 or 40% in the past 18 months, like many people have. Not only that, then we have these high gas prices. Some people are past the point. I was talking to somebody at the grocery store the other day. Very nice young lady. She was checking out groceries, and she said, "Hey, look, if they raise my rent one more time, my lease is about to be up. I'm going to be living in my truck," is what she said to me. Right? And this is the reality of what the hell their crappy policies dump on our neck. And that's exactly what you're saying. Go right ahead, sir.
Because they're all bought and paid for. Like Truman said, and nobody goes into politics and comes out rich unless they're a crook. Like you said earlier in one of your shows. Right? That's true. He said that. If I could have a couple more minutes, I'd like to warn the audience here of something that's going on now.
Sure.
All right? These hedge funds are buying up all these homes, these residences all across the country. They're paying 20, 30% more if they have to buy those properties. What they figured, this is how far greed's gone in the country. What they figured out is that that really bothers them that if you take out a 30-year mortgage and you pay it off in 30 years, you own the house. And they figure that's really not a good thing. They could do better than that. So what they want to do is they want to buy up all these properties, and there's a lot of foreclosures going on now because of that suspension in mortgages. Other people couldn't pay the mortgages, they're out of work. Anyway, they're buying them all up. All right, they want to become the nation's landlord. BlackRock's one of them. All right, and they want to charge the amount of rent that you would normally charge for a mortgage. All right. Yet, you can't, of course, you're renting it, so you can't pay the place off. So they get to keep the house. In other words, you can live there for 30 years, and you can pay, a certain amount of rent that basically is equivalent or more than a mortgage, but you'll never own the house. They want to make sure that our kids never own a home.
Hey, agenda.
It's that reset that you
great
own
reset.
Nothing and be happy.
I was about to say you beat me to the punch. The World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab says you will own nothing and you will be happy. I'm like, no.
Are they going to rent our food to us?
Yeah, exactly. And then what happens when they decide that our food is too cost effective for us, for the people eating it or loaning it or renting it, and then they jack it up so it's just a little bit more convenient for them. This is sick, because at some point, how much money do you need? How much power, right? Because money at some point stops being money and becomes power.
I've said that myself. I mean, in this situation with the virus. All right, and they shut the country down, and they sent everybody a check. All right, everybody thinks, "Oh, gee, I got $1,400. The government's at least trying to help." But the majority of that bill, the funds in that bill, went to the people who are so rich they couldn't spend all the money they have in 100 lifetimes. Why is that going on? And I'll tell you why it's going on. It's going on because we let it go on. We are responsible for this. We are 300 million people in this country. All right, they are a small minority, and we let them do this. It's like you know, they want to turn the country, the people all over the world into back to serfdom. All right, you know, where you never own the land, you take care of it. All right, and all the proceeds go to the lords and the you know. But one thing about young people, also that's good. Young people are fearless.
Yes.
They really are.
Yes.
All right? Fear grows as you get older. You're more susceptible to fear as you get older. It's interesting like that, but that's the case. You would think that because you've lived life and you've been through fire and rain, you know, to get to be 40, to get to be 50, to get to be 60, that you would fear less. But it's not true. All right.
Because you have something to lose. You have something to lose, Robert. You've been through that toil and trial, and the things you have, you can lose now. That's why.
Yeah, and then you have that opposite side of the coin. Yeah, you fear to lose it, but those young kids, they won't have that fear because they'll never be able to have it.
And so is this the controlled demolition of the human psyche through Agenda 2030? That's what we're talking about, right?
Well, sure it is. Sure it is. If you break down resistance, all right, look what they did to those truckers in Canada. You know, they broke their backs, and they had no legal right to do what they did to them, but they did it anyway. All right, and then Trudeau goes to Europe and makes this righteous speech about preserving democracy in a country that isn't a democracy at all. What's that country with Russia's fighting? I never remember his name. Anyway, he basically stomped on the democracy, the freedom, the rights of his own people, blatantly, openly, viciously. All right, this is coming. This is what's happening to America, and and those truckers knew what they were doing. All right, they knew how to get the people on their side. They fed them. They brought bands in. They danced in the street. No, they weren't hurting nobody. All right, I don't know what's going on with our American truckers. It seems like they got lost in the Beltway.
I think the media
they drive around.
The media hasn't covered that. That's an interesting take too. Robert, we got to go, bro. Tell you what, you got more to say. Call back in the third hour. We got Joe. We got Jennifer.
One last thing.
Sure.
Remember what Franklin Roosevelt said. I mean, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. If something's making you scared, shut it down.
Amen, brother. Amen,
Turn
brother.
away from it.
You're the best. You're the best, Robert.
Bye.
Thanks for the phone call. Robert in Pennsylvania. Sorry. Robert in Pennsylvania. Please give he's got a book called Stories from a Fractured Mind. He sent me a couple copies. Full disclosure, it's very good. I read it myself. Links in the description. Give Robert some love. 702-957-1037. Let's go to Joe in Florida. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. Go right ahead. We got about, I don't want to cut you short here. We've got about, let's see, 4 minutes for you, but you can hang over after we get off Fringe if you want. Go right ahead, sir.
All right. Good topic. I missed the first hour. I agree with a lot of the callers. Basically, where are the parents? And I always go back to, if we didn't make up if we didn't have the idea for a cell phone or a scrying mirror, somebody else would have. The technology would have presented itself at any given point in time. So, what do? We have to control it. Just like you want to keep your kids away from Playboy magazines, you might have a harder time keeping your kids away from looking at inappropriate material until the right age to make a decision. Hearing you talk about Tourette's, I'm just going to kind of ramble it out. But, whenever I hear about Tourette's, I've never really watched South Park, only because I know it's funny, but it is a criticism of our society, which always aggravates me because it's true news. But the few episodes that I did watch, I remember there was an episode, I believe, where Cartman got Tourette's because he saw one kid being treated like that. You know, do people get influenced? Without a doubt. One of the other callers said he took the phone away. Same exact thing with my daughter. My wife went and got 3 cell phones because they put her on a plan. I told her, I said, you realize that's not a good idea. She's, you know, not even 13, 12, you know, she's young. Well, guess what? The last 2 weeks, she hasn't had a phone because she was in a group chat with the wrong crowd. She wasn't doing good in school. And as much as the teacher wasn't helping her, when we found out that she was also causing her own set of trouble, but you believe it or not, in 2 weeks, she's changed back to a nice kid. Okay. As far as Robert talking about the youth, you know, when I taught in school for a little bit, some of the kids, and they were like in 7th and 8th grade, were already brainwashed. I had parents come to me and tell me, I don't agree with you all the time, but my kid's making informed decisions. So, and that was just teaching some history in a Spanish course, of all things, in a Catholic school, because I should have been teaching history, but when the nuns, who were the teachers there, spend too much time on religion, the kids would come to me and tell me, hey, you know, we've missed a lesson. Can you help us? And I would give them examples, economic examples, and examples that a lot of it you couldn't really argue as far as value and things, and also how to treat other people. But I used to have debates. I'm not going to say arguments, but I would have debates with students. And sometimes students were so close-minded. But I had to realize as the adult that it was a matter of perspective. You know, I had examples of, with labor, I said, who should make more money? The real estate agent that's going to make 6% on an overinflated price in Florida? You know, it's going to make $24,000 on selling one house? Or should the nurse be making more money? Or should the guy putting your shingles up? And one person argued to me, oh, my parents are real estate agents, you know, but it has to be their perspective. Another thing that I look at with social media and the evil that's out there, I look at both parties. I'm not going to name the parties, you guys can figure it out, but if you look at good and evil, or if you look at the devil bringing us freedom, you know, to make hell a heaven, to give us information and freedom to do whatever we want, we might take that as technology. And when you look at the Old Testament, God, I should say the Old Testament, there's strict rules. When I look at two parties, that's what I start seeing. You know, when I look at two cults, maybe that's a better word, or two religions, that's what I start to say.
That's as good a place to stop here. You want to hang out till after the break?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I'm going to go drink some Tide Pods and down it with some embalming fluids because social media told me to.
Okay, we'll be back with you. Hang tight. I'm going to mute you. I'll come back and get you in just a sec. All right, so as we finish this, that was Joe in Florida, a good friend of mine. This is the way this works, right? This is a conversation between us. And again, like I'm me, you're you, but together we're us. You understand? It's a gigantically powerful thing. And like we talked about, like Robert said, the White House is hiring TikTokers to spread propaganda. Why do you think? Because they respect the platforms we have. And not only that, they fear it. I love all the takes tonight. Thank you so much for being part of this. We're going to keep on trucking. Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, Troubled Minds. We keep on rolling. So as we finish, it goes exactly like this. If you're listening to Troubled Minds on Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Luke of Lighting the Void. If you're listening to us on any other platform, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. And be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. What's up? Welcome back to Troubled Minds. We're gonna just skip the breaks because we got phone calls and just go straight to it. Let's get back to Joe in Florida. Go right ahead, my friend. Continue with your thoughts.
Well, it's just evolution. It's evolution of technology. It's science and technology beating ethics and beating what's ethical. Was it planned? I don't know. But you know what? Was it planned in this country? I think so. And the example I would believe would be this. Robert said it, I'm going to say it. Okay. You've got conflicts. You've got a conflict going on now. And it seems to me that most of those people are united. One side, at least from what the media is telling us, which in this particular time I tend to believe, because if we look at past history of actors, okay, we know that the last president tried to scam or blackmail or do whatever to the current person that's under siege. And we do know that the person that's the aggressor has had a long history of keeping himself as the czar. That's what he should be called. What makes me curious is why nobody says anything. But back to the example, you have one side that's united in fighting and one side that is having their social media cut off, some people protesting, and you have to ask yourself why. Okay? Now, if we go to the Chinese, Tiananmen Square was in 1989. They've already forgotten that. That's been bred out of them. But for better or for worse, they are united. The truckers in Canada, they were united. Okay? Every little thing that's happened here, from the 99% on Wall Street to the January 6th insurrection to the truckers, nobody's accomplished anything.
We're not allowed to accomplish anything.
Social media.
We're not allowed, are we?
I don't think we're allowed because, A, we all have guns. Not that I'm condoning any violence on the show, but we all know that we have our rights. Okay? We all know that we have our rights. We've spoken about that on the show. So they damn well do their best to keep us divided, and they are doing their best, and it's working. It's working. I've been registered as an independent in Florida. More than anything, I'm starting to lean towards an anarchist, outright anarchy, because I can't bring myself to any other position right now. It's so abhorrent. And when you look at design, when you look at the splitting, when you look at the rights movements of the 60s and the separation of one breadwinner in the household, okay, you could start to say when they shot Kennedy, when they shot MLK, the dream of the country started to really die right there, historically, and then you start to make two-income families, latchkey kids. That's us, at least me. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, now it's just easier to control everybody. And you're right. The tablet, the TV, that's why it's called a program. We all know it. We're all preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
And what amazes me is, I think every one of us here that are listening right now can probably do a goddamn better job than any politician that we've had. Because if you heard some of the morons, examples of this would include Jewish space lasers on one side. Another example would be, let's go out and buy a Tesla, if that was true, to curb gas prices. Where are these people eating, when are they going to start feeding me cake? And that's all I'm going to get. Cake and guillotines. And that's why I have to say anarchy, because it's absolutely ridiculous. But how much further can they go with the technology? I mean, we've got the metaverse. Okay? When quantum computing comes out, is that going to start doing thinking for us? Okay? I was reading an article today on smart weapons, loitering weapons, and how you could program to make predefined attacks on targets. Skynet. But at what point in time does that technology start making decisions for us? Future crime, algorithms, all of it. And I think they're really doing it because if this country wakes up, it's going to be bad for everybody. It's going to be bad for everybody, but I don't see us ever unite. I don't ever see us. I see myself having to make a pact with my neighbor, even though his political views and my political views are going to be totally opposite. But I have to know my neighbor's heart because I don't know who else is coming down the street. So it has to be the devil I know versus the devil I don't know. And I hate to tie into that doom porn, but it's playing out. It's playing out. We're seeing an invasion. We're seeing the hypocrisy. Okay, we're seeing oil-producing, exporting cartels holding us hostage. You can make the argument that we could be pumping our own gas and our own oil, and you're probably right. But they're private companies, unbeholden to us. Coke Industries is still doing business in Russia, and nobody knows. And all of that money funds everybody. You know, the Chinese might fund some Democrats, the Russians might fund some Republicans. Nobody knows that. It's nobody, if they do know it or if they do understand it, they either choose to not see it or, you know, they just deny it. They just deny it or play the blame game. So here we are stuck in the middle, most of us, you know, drinking the baby juice and hoping that aliens maybe come and get us for greener pastures.
I'm not hoping the aliens come and get us.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. You're right. It's not going to happen.
We've got to start with our kids. I mean, we've got to start with our kids. We've got to start with our neighbors. You know, what are facts? You know, maybe it's because I did. Maybe, you know, I interviewed with the principal that she teaches, you know, and then she's like, "You sure you want to teach?" And I'm like, "Sweetheart, I want to get away from funeral directing." And that's another thing. I don't know if anybody listening can tell me. I know for a fact in the last 2 years, because of what's going on with this, whatever you want to call it, pandemic, bioengineered bullshit crap, people have gotten worse. People have gotten so much worse coming into my funeral home that it's awful. The customers are awful. They're absolutely awful, and you have to start putting lines in the sand that will take advantage of you. But when I spoke to this principal, you know, she goes, it's very difficult to have a history teacher or a teacher to teach with facts, and they're trying to teach the 8th graders, 7th and 8th grade now. They're trying to have kids cite their sources, original sources. You know, and I never cited sources till I was in college. But the other thing is with media, and I've said this before on the show, news used to be news. I remember watching like Bill Butel in New York and Channel 7. But at the end of the news program, they started giving the editorial. But the editorial always said that the views expressed here may not be those of the channel. Okay? I really don't watch Fox News or CNN. Okay? But it seems that we slowly slide in from the news because Fox News will give you news. And I do read some articles, and they won't give you news. But when you watch TV, it's like, at what time does it change from news to entertainment and opinion? And that's what people are falling for. Prime time,
baby. That's when the ratings come in. When you get Tucker Carlson smashing his fist and talking bad about brown people. Yeah.
You know, so it's lost. I think all of us here pretty much were like, hey, it's kind of lost right now. It is. I mean, I have my kids playing a game right now. You know, I can hear him screaming and yelling at the game, but I know he's playing the game. Okay? I can always disconnect his router. You see how fast he walks the dog. If I text him, walk the dog, or I'm shutting off the router, he comes and walks the dog. My daughter's lost her phone privileges. She knows why she's lost them, because she needs to be a better person to her friends and things, but that's not the privilege that everybody has. They're single parents. You know, do I blame the state? I blame the state, a lot of it, but I also blame personal responsibility and lawyers and a list of the lawyers. But anyway,
don't get me started in taxes and healthcare. Don't get me started, Joe. Don't get me started.
What do you call one lawyer in the ocean?
A good start.
You got it.
Yes.
So, there you go.
I've heard that one. Joe, you're the best. We got Jennifer behind you. Always a pleasure. Joe in Florida. Go get him, brother. You're the best. God bless you for dealing with when people pass away. Joe here is a funeral director. When people pass away, it brings out the best and the worst in their families, and you deal with that every day. God bless you. You're the best, man.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Have a great one. Thanks for calling. Thanks for being you. 702-957-1037. We're going to skip the breaks because, well, we've got people on the phone line. Let's go to Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Thanks for waiting for us. Go right ahead, my friend.
Hey, yeah, Joe is the best.
Yes, he is. He's spot on about a lot of things, isn't he?
He's just awesome. Yeah. I've been thinking about this, since you brought it up and everything. And so okay, the Black Mirror scrying thing and the Archon thing. So I was thinking about this thing about the Archons in general, and kind of like this idea of, okay, you have like to every good thing, like every angel, like an archangel, for example, there's an antithesis of it, like an antiversion of that archangel. For example, you have Archangel Michael, or maybe you have like Buddha, or I don't know, any religion you want to look at. They have one aspect that's usually very positive and is done like it's an element that's used for building creation up. On the opposite, you have like the antithesis of it, like Virgin Mary versus Lilith, that kind of thing. The antithesis spirit of it is what destroys or perverts or changes it around in some way. But they keep each other balanced because, like good and evil kind of need each other for traction. Like, for example, like if you try to walk on ice, you'll just slip because there's nothing there no resistance. So you kind of need something for resistance to be able to get any kind of traction. And I kind of think of it that way. So you have this other aspect. Now, in the world of occultism, and this is just what I was kind of thinking. So I don't know. But in the world of occult stuff, they, like when you conjure up, for example, a demon, like say you're doing like the Goetia, or you're like following Solomon or voodoo or anything like that, or your Llewellyn books or any of that stuff. When you conjure up a demon, now a lot of times it's not mentioned in books or anything, but when you're doing any kind of magical practice, it's supposedly, I think, it's a demon that comes up first because it's got the magic. It's got like a power. It's like a raw force energy. And you'd have to bind that first. You hear about that with Crowley when he talks about any of his magical rituals. Like when he wanted to contact his archangel, or his guardian angel, he had to first meet several demons of hell, like dukes of hell. And he was supposed to bind those. You see that with Solomon, that's what he had to do to use them to help him build the temple. Like he had to bind them. But you have a lot of people doing a lot of occult stuff these days, and I think that possibly they don't think about that. They don't think that they are contacting anything like that. And if they did, they don't have to deal with it because they're only doing good stuff. But see, Solomon had to contact him. It was demons that came up, and he had to seal them so that he could use their magic so that you can get to the magnetism of the magic and stuff. If the world is full, or if there is quite a bit, okay, and the invisible all around us is the unseen veil. That would be what's going on with this kind of theory. That all around us, all the time, making this all happen, making reality exist, are these unseen forces right beyond the veil that we're not supposed to be much in contact with because they throw things out of whack. So, okay, if there's a lot of these type of beings that have cut loose and are either thought forms or are literal, like these archdemons, these archons or something, and they are about and doing things easily in the world, but unseen. Okay, now you take in that whole thing over there, and you think about fear and what the immortal soul, like a person's an immortal soul, and they come in, they're an immortal soul coming from the Creator, and they have like they have several facets that life force shoots through. It's like self-preservation and, social instinct, reproduction, stuff like that the energy is shooting through to relate to the experience because it's going to evolve the soul in some way, ultimately, from birth to death, from beginning to end. When it ends, they're going to have at the end, they have a culmination of the experience that's going to lead to some kind of evolution of the soul to something else, like heaven or some other field or something. Now, okay, so if you think about they're going through life with that, and somebody, for example, their peer group or social media, and that's all that they know. And it begins to attack them with like bullying and stuff or anything like that. It attacks their self-preservation or something else, some of the social instinct of some kind. So it's a very serious attack, really. It becomes more and more serious, and they either get stronger against it or they get away from it or whatever. But it's not just the brain, I think, that's interacting with it. It's like the endocrine system. Because, the brain is more like a perception thing. But I was thinking that, the endocrine system, it's the thing that's like emitting all the hormones. So like blood, like fear is a hormone chemical in my blood. So if I'm afraid because I think I'm losing my self-preservation or I'm going to die or something, even though I'm not going to, but it feels that way, it's excreted. My blood becomes flavored with it, with that fear. And the fear pumps through my system and it goes into my brain. My brain sees that chemical and it begins to see fearful images. It begins to see fear. It begins to imagine it and live that way. In that state of mind, you'd almost be exactly magnetically in alignment with these Archons, with these Quiloths or whatever, with these demonic type of beings. And if you were emitting that and everything, eventually maybe it would reach a point where if the person's tried everything and they're still experiencing this inability to adapt to existing, to fulfilling their purpose because everything's being thwarted by modern society in some way. This is kind of pessimistic, but anyway, let's just say that. Then ultimately they may even experience some kind of like a taking a place, a complete control, like a sort of psychic attack where these beings, these Archon, are controlling them from on an unseen spiritual level in a way. Or ultimately, it could thwart all of human soul, like evolution in a way. If a whole generation has been cast off and cannot exist, can't be fulfilling their purpose as a human being and fulfilling all those aspects, if that's all been thwarted with fear and control, then ultimately the end goal would be that they've corrupted and eventually it could be destroyed, because it's either creation or destruction. That's what those two things are representing. So destruction would win, and it'd start all over again. And maybe that would be the goal of it, or something to that effect. And that's what I was kind of thinking. It was really hard.
Yeah, I think you're per usual. Everybody in the chat's like Jennifer slaying it, always slaying it is my opinion, and I think exactly right. Like when we did the answer show and you called in and asked the question, like exactly what you're talking about is my thought on these things, because specifically we are exactly trying to sort of cut to the chase and get to the jugular of the next generation, because if we do, we'll never be able to sort of have a culmination of humanity ever again. Once we cut that off and make people reliant on all the rest of this bullshit that we're supposed to believe, again, back to this TikTok stuff, it's like, what is going on now? And again, like, I can't crap on all of it because it allows us to be here. It allows us the space to talk about these things as well. So I can't just like crap on a whole generation. Like, again, like I said, I continue to maintain that there are good people, there are bad people in all generations, and that's that. All right. So not to say young people are bad. I think in many ways that they've been incredibly misled, and it's intentional, and that's part of exactly what's going on here. The same idea. What about that idea of them literally getting like Tourette's from watching TikTok videos? I mean, they're LARPing, right? They're like, they want to be like their heroes, right? And so their heroes are, again, not like, I don't know, what, Prometheus, the Firebringer, not those heroes. They're not like Hercules, the 12 Tasks of Hercules. They're not like, any of the rest of this. They're people that are compromised somehow. They're people that are broken somehow. And they can, not actually sort of some way sympathize with that hero's journey, that Joseph Campbell hero's journey, and making ourselves better, but we sympathize with the opposite of like we're broken and we're going to commiserate together being broken. You know what I'm saying? It's literally, and talk about living in the upside down. Welcome to it, huh?
Right. Yeah. I think too, like they've abandoned, like eventually, not all the way. I mean, I think that some, like adults and the young people, the young adults and the adults, at the same time, are both capable and guilty of either completely like deciding to abandon reality and live purely in the imagination. They're both capable of it, of this neurotic, this kind of sad mental thing that could happen, which could be ultimately like, horrific, technically. But okay, so say they don't do that, but they just partially abandon reality. Occasionally live in the imaginary, which I think many of us are very guilty of. And I think as long as the kids kind of keep it to that minimal and just, I guess a lot of people would say not to dabble, but dabbling a little in the imagination is okay. And it may help them to cope, the same as adults. A little is okay. But I think that always being wary and understanding that this is not real, like these people, like the Tourette's thing, if they're just doing it because they want to, it's like, doing a fad thing, but understanding that they really truly don't. And if they do think that they do have if they have this type of problem, then it's a mental illness of sorts, but they surely know that anyway, yeah, I don't know. They've abandoned, in that case, they would have abandoned reality, for the realm of imagination, which is much safer if the world, but that's the ultimate goal of these forces, because there are things that live in the imagination. The imagination is not just, we're in the third hour, it's not just bullshit. The imagination is a thing. And in the imagination,
it's real.
Everything springs forth. Yes. And so I think that that entire realm is when you think of something, like say they come in contact with these types of things and they should think about it, their subconscious will come in contact with them first. And then there will start to be signs of it in their life. And then there will be contact and a connection made. And that's how it's done with hypnosis and stuff. So it's all about that. Everything starts in the imagination, but the mystery schools and all that stuff, they all knew that when you think of something like a person or anything like that, and that was one of that's one of the things they're trying to keep, I think, kind of hidden, is that the truth is when you think of something, a person or a place in your imagination, it's almost like you are there or you are with them. And in a way, the more that's done, the more that kind of thing happens. It's not necessarily, when you're thinking of these beings that live in the imagination, that's where they are, because that's where the mind is. And that's where we are too. We're in the imagination too. But anyway, I don't know. I think that it was, for some reason, it was just like, it seemed important. I was like, you're right, Mike, because you were all fired up. I was like, I should get fired up too. And I was trying.
Hey, come on now.
And I was like, I tried to get in on the hour, but I was like, I was too late. But I was like, I'll just wait. And then.
Yeah, thank you for calling. Yeah, we did. We had so many calls stacked up, so we can actually have 100 lines if possible. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy that some topics, like I'm like, this is probably going to be okay, and then like the phone lines just stack up. I'm like, oh shit, I guess this is better than okay. Jen,
everybody feels really passionate about this,
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Great show tonight.
We need to be thinking about it. Because there's a lot here that's, again, what did Aristotle say, right? Knowledge is important, but you know what's more important than knowledge? Action. There you go. That's a bad paraphrase, but that's a more Aristotle stuff. I love me some Aristotle. Jennifer, you are amazing. As always, spit and fire. Jennifer here has a YouTube channel. Check it out. APOC says, love Jen's mind. There it is. You can go check out her YouTube channel. Links in the description. Always a pleasure, Jennifer. Thanks for hanging out. Always, we'll catch you soon. Have a great night, and thank you for listening. Thanks for calling.
You too. Have a good night.
Thanks a lot. There you go. Easy as that. Simple as that. 702-957-1037. What about this idea? Scrying the social contagion, right? Again, we started with this idea. What's up, James? It's Salcido, the famous James, is in the house. Just a recap for you before we take a quick break, because I do have to dance off to the restroom because getting old, etc. This is from the New York Post. How TikTok has become a dangerous breeding ground for mental disorders. Just going to reframe this, and then we'll get back. Thanks for all the amazing calls tonight. Thanks for all the amazing thoughts on this. So the question is this, right? These videos in particular are getting billions of views on TikTok to self-diagnose with their own mental conditions. On TikTok alone, the hashtag BDP, which is borderline personality disorder, has 3.7 billion views. Hashtag bipolar, 2 billion views. And hashtag DID, dissociative identity disorder, another 1.5 billion. Recently, psychologists have noticed a wave of adolescent girls also claiming to suffer from Tourette's syndrome, a rare mental health condition such as borderline, those things we just said, conditions not typically seen in the teen demographic. And a common denominator between many of these symptomatic girls has been identified. The common denominator, by the way, consuming mental health content on TikTok. So what do you think? What are your ideas here? What are your thoughts? So many great calls, so many amazing people being part of this conversation. We still have time for you. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. But this is the idea tonight. So not just this, right? The scrying mirror of the actual phone itself. Is this, again, like we've described a couple times tonight? And again, as always, I hope to inspire you. You guys definitely inspire me. Inspired from the chat tonight. Is this a controlled demolition of the human psyche? And is all of this intentional? Like, we're here, again, to 2 years, 2 weeks to flatten the curve became 2 years, and like an entire takedown of the middle class. Because, of course, Walmart is essential, but sorry, your mom and pop business is not. So shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down, close that shit forever, because you can't spend, your lease money when there's no business. So sorry, you just got destroyed. Thank you very much. Now get in the bread line with everybody else, right? But Walmart and Amazon and Elon Musk and all the titans of industry, as Ryan Gable says, and I love that term, these guys, right, they just became richer and richer and richer. And if you're going to tell me that was an accident, I'm going to say I have a different idea. All right, 702-957-1037. We're going to take a quick break because I have to dance off to the men's room. I'll be right back. More Trouble Minds on the way. Looking to hear from your calls. And what are your ideas here? What about this? Is this the idea of looking into your smartphone and that obsidian mirror looking back at you as you stare into the abyss stares back? Is this all the controlled demolition of the human psyche? I don't know. You tell me. I'm starting to think maybe, and a good solid maybe is good enough for me. Be right back. More Trouble Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere. 2-minute break, and we're going to do this, which is not that. It's that. The music. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. More Trouble Minds coming up. 702-957-1037. Welcome back to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and quick 2-minute break. We're just kicking it, talking about all the things weird. Amazing calls from everybody tonight, as usual. Like I said, and I mean this, and you guys know, just go back and listen. The secret weapon of Troubled Minds is you, and there's a whole lot going on, isn't there, in the world we live in? And again, I want to make sure that we're clear on this idea of, I'm shitting on TikTok, right? But it's not exactly that, because like I said, I could be on TikTok. You could be on TikTok. And so the point is not that. The point is there's the many, many, many larger points here. And I want to make it so that you guys understand that I don't think it's right to crap on generations. Because again, we've all been young, right? And in many cases, some of us have started to get old, right? Maybe many of us have not become, quote, old yet. And I again point you back to the quote from the great Michael Savage of conservative radio that says, not on the outskirts of conservative radio, because he didn't follow the party line and they ran him out on a rail. But he said, never let an old person live in your body, okay? Regardless of how old you get. He's 84, 83 years old or something, still riding his bike every day, the rest of that stuff. Never let an old person live in your body. And so my point is, look, we're all locked into our time space, meaning that we all, God willing, cross your fingers, have a chance to be young, okay? Because we're lucky. And then also we have a chance to be somewhere in the middle, and because we're lucky. And if we continue to be lucky, we have a chance to be old. And all of those things are blessings. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And just because I was a stupid kid doesn't mean that the stupid kid shakes out. And the Michael Strange you hear and see today wasn't part of what that stupid kid was. Okay? I am. It is. We are the same. Except, back to the river analogy, is that the same person in the same river never meet twice. Because the same person steps into that river years later is a different person. And the river that has flowed for years is not the same water. And you understand, we change. And so shitting on generations, to me, calling people boomers or using millennial as a slang term to crap on the younger generation, I reject it all. I reject it all. Brilliant people, young and old. Let's find them. Let's get together. Let's talk about this. Loving to hear your thoughts on this idea of this. Again, back to TikTok. This can you get Tourette's from watching TikTok videos, or again, is this some sort of gigantic QAnon LARP? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Speaking of put you on the show, let's go to Daryl in New York. What's up, Daryl? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you?
Hey, Michael, how you doing? This is a very good subject. I really like it. I was just hearing the end of Jennifer's conversation with you because I had a little nap in the middle of the beginning of the show. But I hope I'm not going to repeat anything that was said already. What I was thinking was, how much money do you make on TikTok if it goes viral? Like, what kind of dollars are we talking about?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. So I think, so here's my take on TikTok. I have done YouTube Shorts, which is trying to emulate TikTok. It's funny that they're both trying to emulate each other. So YouTube wants to become TikTok and TikTok wants to become YouTube. So YouTube is like rolling out shorter and shorter videos and pushing them into their algorithms. And TikTok is making longer and longer videos. it's hilarious. But that's the funny thing. But TikTok videos, right? So like, because there's not enough room for ad space in there to make money, I think, so like it's super short. So let's break it down like this from how I understand it. And by the way, I could be wrong because I could always be wrong, but I've got a pretty good understanding of the way this media and social media and these things work for monetization and some other things. And so I think it works like this. So when you have shorter videos, it's difficult to monetize them because you don't have ad space, because it's like a 15-second video. Nobody's going to watch a 5-second ad for a 15-second video. But what happens is, because that's the case, the engagement is super high because it's rewatchable. So you get people watching a video 2, 3, 4 times, and then the followings grow quickly. So I think the money made on TikTok in particular, pretty sure about this, is not from TikTok itself. It's from gaining that following. And then so once you gain like a huge following super quickly, then you can let's say sell, I don't know, Mike's Cosmetics or something, right? Then you could do that and like kind of slip in a commercial from here or there, and your people aren't going to, like your followers aren't going to bitch and moan about it because it's a super short thing. So that's how the money is made on TikTok, just so everybody knows as I understand it. But go right ahead. Go right ahead. There you go.
Right, well, obviously, that's a great incentive. I mean, to viral. I mean, if a tick can make you go viral, I'm going to start to have a speech impediment. What the hell,
Yeah, and I think, again, LARPing. And this is, again, right back to what I was saying earlier. I don't know if you caught this. I said, look, so instead of our heroes being the 12 tasks of Hercules, the 12 labors of Hercules, we are now instead, our heroes are diminutive, broken people, right, with mental disorders, with learning disabilities, and those are the heroes. So we're not, again, and I want to be very clear about this. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm saying it's a very real thing, and like those people that are struggling with being human on a daily basis, they need help, and they deserve our compassion and understanding and all the rest of that. And that's why I always say, Just be good to people, because you never know what they're dealing with, okay? But then the second part of that is that if we sort of iconize broken people, right? It's literally looking the opposite direction of the direction we should be, right? I mean, we should be helping those people for sure. Don't get me wrong. But for crying the fuck out loud, we should be looking to the stars. Like, we should our heroes should be people that inspire us to be better, not heroes that inspire us to have a speech impediment, right? I mean, for fuck's sakes.
I'm wondering, what is the attention? Who are the people that are making them viral? Like, oh, I just saw somebody that ticks a lot. Look how cool this is. I mean, I don't know if that's like really the mentality of these people that are making this popular. I just don't, I'm not attracted to it. I don't find anything about looking at people's misfortune even entertaining. So I don't know if they are finding it entertaining, or are they just like enjoying somebody else's like flaws? Does it make them feel better? Is this like the kind of way people are growing up these days? You know, to knock other people down, to make them feel better? What kind of society is that? Is that what we're encouraging? Is this something that actually is positive, or is there an agenda to do this? And then I was thinking, while we're on that subject, you know, things with vibrations, you know, there's technology that can do so much right now we're not even aware of. You know, the self-assembling graphene oxide. I mean, it's really amazing, you know, that can send a signal remotely and supposedly, you know, diagnose you from a distance. This is like supposedly the good part of this technology, maybe, is to be able to like have some kind of like internal doctor to cure your little problems. You know, that sounds good, right? But I don't think necessarily it's going to be good, you know, or, you know, maybe there's going to be a lot of growing pains, which we might be experiencing now. But I thought that maybe, you know, with a vibration, you can get something from the internet. Maybe your internet can influence you and give you some sort of a tick or some sort of a condition. Maybe it is an experiment that, you know, maybe they're just starting to just tap into. That let's see if we could just do it from a simple point of view. You know, we can't cure cancer yet, but let's just see if, you know, anything worked yet. You know, let's just try a little tick here, a little tick there. You know, let's try that computer, you know, enhanced diagnostics, whatever, remote diagnostics. I don't know. I'm not saying this is true, but I'm just saying, you know, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. You know what? I got to admit, Daryl, we've talked to you and I have talked at length. You were on a show, co-hosted a whole show about Morgellons, and I got to admit, like when I was doing the show tonight, I thought about that. I was like, wait, so we were told that was a mass sort of psychosis, right? But now we have something called a social contagion, and that thing is now manifesting as TikTok videos, sort of creating people with Tourette's, right? Tourette syndrome. And it's like, what the fuck is really going on here? Like, is this, like you're describing right now, is this an actual, like, engineered social contagion? Meaning that this is not an accident at all. This is not like just people trying to imitate their heroes, their influencers, their TikTok people they look up to. This could be somehow, some way, sort of interjected into the zeitgeist as a way to, again, make people look down instead of look up, right? I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, look, you know, if you can start giving massive amount of people have a social condition that's kind of very antisocial. I mean, Tourette's can be devastating. You know, some people have no control over their speech. They have like no idea that they're going to say something horrible, and they just blurt it out. I mean, I have a family member I won't mention that kind of has that kind of syndrome where she just can't control. I mean, she has it in a different way, which might not appear as Tourette's, but some people, you know, they can't help themselves. Like they just have no control over that. And I'm not saying that that's a, you know, that was like a designed mechanism, you know, that was something advanced technology. I think it's just a problem if you have something like that. You know, if you're born with it, why does, you know, what is the cause of Tourette's syndrome? And I think it's debilitating for some people. There was a comic on America's Got Talent had Tourette's syndrome. He was hilarious. I don't know if you've seen that guy. I loved him. He had obviously a lot of control over his Tourette's, so he could make fun of himself. And now when you have something like Tourette's or a stutter, when you have a rehearsed script, you can actually overcome it when you know that the lines that you're going to say. For stutterers, that's true. I also worked with a stutterer in the theater, and he would stutter terribly when we were off stage and backstage, but he was as smooth as silk on stage. Never, ever, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. You know what's crazy about that, too? I'm sure you've noticed this, you being a singer. Daryl's a singer. She's got a YouTube channel. Check it out. Sings in English and French. Links in the description. But the thing is this, right? I'm sure you've noticed. I sing a little bit myself. Not a lot. I'm not good. But I do, and I understand the concept, and I can fumble through it. If you give me 100 takes, I can maybe get 1 or 2 decent ones. But I'm sure you've noticed that, like, some people have like ridiculous accents, meaning that like very thick. I don't mean ridiculous in a bad way. I just mean like they speak English in, let's say they have a very, Latvian sort of maybe crunching those W's like they're Eastern European sort of thing, right? Like that. But then somehow, some way, when they sing English, there's no accent whatsoever, right? I'm sure you've noticed this.
True. You're right. I've noticed that too. Yeah, when they're speaking, they have their English is impeccable. Right, you're right. When they sing it, and they don't have that accent, or that impediment even necessarily. They can somehow pronounce letters stronger. The way it's supposed to sound like in English. They don't swallow anything. I had an example just left my mind.
That's okay.
I don't know.
Welcome to my life. Hey, when that happens, just pretend like it didn't happen and talk about something else. That's my advice.
I had a Polish friend. She used to confuse an English word. She would say something like, "Oh, I felt very sick. My throat was swallow." Like swallow, And then if she said, "Oh, I had a sore throat," look at that bird that's swollen. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. That doesn't have to do with anything here, I don't think. But just going back to the command of the English language and the accents, or stutters, or lisps, or even Tourette's. It's nothing that I would want to acquire. It's not a desirable acquired condition. Neither was Morgellons, but to fake Tourette's, I don't know. I don't know. It's something that could be manifested by a devious, agenda. I think it's pretty awful. It's possible. I'm just wondering if we can, there's something about Morgellons that would make you sound crazy, and the people around you reject you. And we felt that was so engineered. It was like almost on purpose. It would make you seem crazy no matter what you did. The symptoms were so insane that nobody would believe you, and then they wouldn't even treat you well. We were certain that was all intentional. That there was something designed about it that would make it sound crazy and make the people around you act differently and without compassion. And there's something going on now that people seem to have no more compassion or empathy. And do you feel like that's some sort of growing trend in people lately? They're just starting to behave, like it's like us against them, and there's so much polarization with a lot of the subjects we're dealing with today. I'm not going to bring them up because I overdo that, You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm glad. Look, and this is part of being human. I'm glad you recognize it, right? I overdo a lot of things too, and that's the point, right? Like there's recurring themes on this show, but I think these conversations sort of, right, like they bleed into each other. Like this conversation tonight basically was manifested by conversations from other shows, right? Like we did the show with James on Saturday night, and like part of what we're talking about tonight sort of started there, right? We had the conversation with you and Derek and James a couple nights ago, like I think it was Sunday night, kind of talking a little bit about this stuff, created that show on Monday. And then some of those conversations from all of those spots created the show today, because they do bleed, the ideas bleed into each other, but it's an unbelievable amount of things to like think about and talk about, because these topics are in and of themselves something worthy of discussion, worthy of thought. And it's nuts. It's like you could just say, oh, you know, like I was making fun of myself last night, like, oh, you want a Bigfoot show? You're in the wrong place. We're not talking about Bigfoot, really. We're going to take this shit off the rails and so sideways and upside down. You wonder why we ever started with Bigfoot to begin with. Because, hey,
you started with Bigfoot? Oh my God!
We started with Bigfoot yesterday. And by the way, if you're doing Bigfoot shows, you're a rookie. You're a conspiracy rookie. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to say. Because, hey, come on now, like, right? We've been there, done that. Like, how many times? How many times can you say, is Bigfoot real? Is the forest and a lot of? How many times can you fucking say that? Right? Like, come on. There are so many things out there that are interesting and worthy of discussion that we don't have to do the UFO circle jerk, right? Again, and that's the whole idea of these people getting together talking about the same damn thing over and over again. Let me tell you what, Daryl. You know what we're doing? You and I right now, and everybody else that listens to this and calls in and contributes in the chat, and everybody out there, you know what we're doing, Daryl? We're thinking, and we're creating new ideas, new concepts of things to consider and look at. And we may not hit a home run every night, and it doesn't matter, because all of these things are worthy of thought and discussion. And there you go. That's it.
Absolutely.
Let's do new things. Let's not do the same old bullshit from 50 years ago. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of people doing it, considering it, and being like, oh, well, how about the Bigfoot? How about the UFOs? Yeah, fine. It's compelling sometimes. But give me some new information to talk about. That shit was from 50 fucking years ago. Come on, man. Come on, man. We got a phone call. We got MJ on the phone, Daryl. You want to hang tight for a minute and talk to MJ?
Right ahead.
You're the best, Daryl. Mute up. I'll come back and get you in a sec. Don't go anywhere. Let's go to MJ in Virginia. Welcome to Troubled Mind. Jerome with Mike and Daryl. Go right ahead, sir. How are you? Thanks for waiting. Thanks for being patient with us earlier. He was one of the calls that got like blocked up, and he dropped off because he had to wait too long. So thanks for calling back, my friend. Go right ahead.
Well, it wasn't to wait too long. Everything was traveling so fast. It was like to say something. This is a mental recession we're going to go through. And as far as TikTok and Tourette's or whatever you're talking about, this has been going on for years, ever since the internet came along. Kids are playing games. They didn't play outside anymore. The parents were detached from it. They weren't into the computers until later. And so this has been traveling for quite some time as far as what's been going on. So it's going to be a mental recession. They keep now calling for a monetary recession, which the reasons that all these large businesses, the small businesses were, canceled, gotten rid of, so the large businesses could make as much money as they want or can, because they're not going to let go of their money once they do. And we're the ones who are going to suffer big time. Okay. But part of it is a mental recession as well as a physical recession. And that's going to happen towards the end of this year. You'll see a lot coming up. But
it feels like it's coming, doesn't it? It definitely feels like it's coming. Like there's something's about to pop regarding the bubble, right?
Well, have you noticed on the news how much they talk about mental illness? That's all they talk about, mental illness. This is a mental illness. We've got to treat mental illness. It's like, what mental illness? Because I've got an opinion, I'm going to put it in your face? That's a mental illness? No, it's not. But they're treating an opinion as mental illness. So that's what's coming. They're pushing. And then what they think they've learned, is if they keep repeating it enough times, you'll start believing it like it's a form of hypnosis. So when you get all this stuff going on, like everybody's talking about Russia and Ukraine, okay, fine. They have biolabs over there. So that's why Putin's bombing Ukraine, because of the biolabs. I don't think he's that stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, no.
Yeah,
but that's the thing now.
It's interesting you mentioned that. So that's a QAnon LARP, in my opinion, by the way. So it's like, look, really, you think Vladimir Putin cares so much about the American deep state, he's going to invade Ukraine to bomb some fucking bullshit biolabs over there? Are you fucking kidding me? There are biolabs the world over that the United States is involved in. So what's next? So is Putin going to go World War III and take over the whole world so he can kill the deep state for U.S. lefty-righty politics? That's literally one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Ever. It's like, come on now, really? Are we LARPing to this level of partisan politics that we don't understand that shit happens outside of our paradigm in our world that's outside? That's literally geopolitics exists that has very little to do with lefty-righty garbage. What the fuck, right? But LARPing, in terms of that, like I said, LARP means LARP is a live action role play. And I say QAnon is a live action role play. It's bullshit. And I think it's CIA backed, by the way. But also, I'm going to say that. Next, back to the other thing, I think the TikToks, back to what you were saying there, and why I'm kind of bringing this around, is that TikTok in particular, if people have speech impediments or whatever, right? Again, Tourette's or whatever on TikTok, and people are emulating that and saying, oh, I also have a actual whatever, right? Like what a mental something, right? Because they're emulating this. It's a LARP. It's a live action role play. These people don't actually have these problems in most cases. Again, like I said, you have to hedge your words, because the second you say that, they're like, I knew it, Mike hates people with mental problems. That's not what I fucking said. I said most of the people emulating this stuff are LARPing, and they do not have Tourette's, because Tourette's is extremely rare, number one, and it's extremely rarer in a young demographic like this. Anyway, go right ahead, sir. After I ranted and raved, welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. Go right ahead, sir.
What I see is TikTok and all these other groups, Twitter, anything, they're clubs. And before it was just, conglomeration of a bunch of people getting together and talking and everything. And then they started taking it and twisting it and putting out these algorithms or this repeated, saying. So people started taking sides on it because they're using freedom of speech against us is what they're doing. So people are going to openly say, oh, I don't agree, and they start arguing. Oh, well, you can't argue like that. Oh, no, we've got to stop that now. No. But yet they get people arguing and they exercise their freedom of speech. And now when you go to TikTok, that's like a whole, I can't even bother with TikTok. I can't go to it. But that's a club. And they've created that club for kids so they can be out there and act stupid. It's the same thing they've done with pushing the gay agenda on a 3-year-old or a kindergarten kid and all about gay. That poor child, those children are going to be warped forever. Ever. Okay. Now I want to slow you down. I want to slow you down just to make sure. I understand what you're saying, and I want to make sure people are clear. And I'm not speaking for you. I want to make sure I'm clear on this, on how I believe these things. Somebody jumps on my show and says what you just said, they can use that against me. Okay, I want to clarify. And I know you're probably lockstep with me on this, but I want to make sure. Okay? Nothing wrong with being gay. Nothing, my opinion, nothing wrong. No. I know. Let me just say it. Somebody has to say it, because right, if you hedge the words and don't say the things, you become attacked, right? And again, this is my platform. I have to do this. Nothing wrong with being gay. Gay people. I have gay people in my family. Okay, and I'm telling you, nothing wrong with it. Period. Ever. Got it? That's what I'm saying. And I know you're in lockstep with me. But do I think that we should be teaching 5-year-olds sexuality? Abso-fucking-lutely not. In any capacity whatsoever. There's a reason why they do that. Remember? I don't know if you remember, MJ. You were probably with me when they kicked all the boys out of class and sent us to the out to the playground because they were teaching girls about their bodies and menstruation and like periods and all this stuff, right? And we were all weirded out by it. We're like, what the fuck? We get some extra kickball time. And they're in there in the classroom. But it was appropriate, approximately about the correct time they should have been learning this. And did boys need to know about this at that age? Fuck no. It was a good thing, right? There's
Not 5 years old. Not 5 years old. That's not an appropriate conversation in any capacity, in my opinion, at 5 years old. It's not. There you go. Just saying. Like, there are times and places for things, and I just want to point out that, look, I am not like you think, all right? You haters out there that are going to hate MJ or hate me, go ahead. I want to make sure, like, MJ, you have to make sure you hedge your words appropriately. Go right ahead, sir.
I'm gay.
There we go. Are you really? Or are you being real, or are you just being stupid?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm gay.
Okay. All right. There you go. Well, all right. Hey, MJ.
Appalled. That's a fact.
There we go. That's a fact. All right. See, but this is the thing too. Also, notably in that what I just said. Notably, does it matter? Does it matter? Nothing changed right now. Nothing changed right now. But does it really matter? No, bro. I appreciate you saying that, but it doesn't matter to me. Like I said, I've got gay family members, and it's fine. Like, what's the big fucking deal? People are just so fucking insane about these things. But anyway, go ahead, sir. I'm just saying, right? Like, Robert says this. Hold on.
I think it's appalling that they would take kids and do this, because when I look at it, I'm totally embarrassed. And most of the gay community, they don't even want to talk about it. They don't want to be associated. A lot of them have gone in. They're in hiding. I have friends out in Phoenix, and you call them up, hey, what's going on? You hear, no, can't talk about it over the phone. No. And they're just, avoiding each other terribly over this whole thing, because the media, the politicians, want to use the LGBTQ community, how many letters they put on it,
as a weapon, right?
As a weapon.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it, and we're done. It's like, leave us out of it,
Yeah.
We don't even need to be involved with this crap.
It makes you look terrible. Yeah. Real quick, I'm going to read this comment to you and then let you finish real quick. Robert says on Rockfan, teaching sex to little kids is the creepiest thing any teacher could do. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. The problem with them doing this, in the long run, it's targeting everybody who's gay.
Yes.
Because there's going to be a major disdain, taste in everybody's mouth, everybody's attitude, and that's the first thing they're going to start thinking of. That's why they're doing it, more separation. A lot of not all guys, but some guys are afraid when everything's said and done, they're going to pull out all the stops, and we're going to be put in camps.
Yeah, you're like the first. You're the first enemy as a minority group, and I think this is the worst part about weaponizing, like say minority groups or even ranking them. From it's okay to discriminate against this group but not that group. This is the thing that pisses me off the most, because all that shit always changes. Right? If you ask these assholes about what they think today is, they'll tell you politically, but then tomorrow it's different. And so what's really happening is they're basically back to that whole COVID stuff we were talking about earlier. Like, oh, well, that business is fine and that one is not. It's essential, this one is not. And in the end, what they're really saying is we get to decide which people are essential and which people are not. And if that doesn't put a chill in your spine, I don't know what the fuck does, MJ?
The only thing like I said before, people are not going to react to this properly until they have lost absolutely everything, all their conveniences. They have nothing left. All they have left is each other to turn to for help. And once they do that, they're going to learn that's all they've ever had. And that's going to be the worst and best lesson for everybody, because they're going to feel so stupid, so embarrassed, and then at one point so empowered. But we're not there yet. People still run around on their cell phones, the TikTok, all the stuff, all the lies the politicians are telling, that they think DeSantis is a great governor. I think he's a good governor. Problem is, he's the only one down there doing that. They voted him in, but he's the one doing that rah talk. A lot of the people down in Florida are still not. It's about the state. It's not about the one man. A lot of that's going on. So I look at all this. It's like, this is, I saw one or two things off of TikTok. It's just insane. this girl was overweight. And she's going on about this and yada yada and dance around being stupid. I was like, what are you doing? Okay. I can't get any of it. Maybe I'm too old now, but
yeah, we might be too old.
People
we might be too old. But that's okay, right? It's okay because again, right? Like the youngsters are, God willing, someday they're going to be old too, right? And like we're sort of locked into these time frames, like I always say. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like there's a lot here, and I don't know, man. Like this is it's worthy of discussion. It's worthy of thought, and that's why we do this. And as always, my brother, thank you so much for calling. Thanks for being part of this. We got Tam Bam. So me and you are kind of shitting on TikTok. Tam Bam has a different view. We're going to take your view in just a sec. So your final thought while we got you on the phone, my friend.
No final thought. Just be careful towards the end of the year.
There we go. All right. Perfect. Sounds good. MJ in Virginia, you're the best, brother. Always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
All right, bye.
Thank you very much. 702-957-1037. Troubleminds.org. Click the Discord link. Hey, I want to say, I've got a conspiracy theory. Anybody new on TikTok? There's 43 people watching TikTok right now. Do we have anybody new in the chat who's never actually been new in the chat? There you go. You want a conspiracy theory? I count about 12 or 13 people in the chat that are active. What about the other 30 plus people? Is anybody there new? Want to come say hi? Just curious, wondering, being a conspiracy theorist, watching the numbers like I do. Hey, you can't get shit by me. What's up? Anybody new out there on Rockfin? Want to say hi in the chat that I've never seen before? Because it seems like there's a whole lot of new people watching on TikTok. Or sorry, TikTok, Rockfin. See, I just did that. It's on my mind. Anyway, just curious. Anybody new over there on Rockfin want to say hi? What's up? 45 people now. That's hot. That's a big number. Anybody new over there? We got Ronald is there, 416. We got Robert, Crabapple, the usual crew, right? The usual crew. We got Adonna, Vicky. We got Ronald, the usual crew, right? Active in the chat. What about all those people lurking? Anybody want to say hi over there? No, you're allowed to lurk. I'm just curious if there's anybody actually new, or if there's a conspiracy afoot. Because, of course, I am a semi-pro conspiracy theorist, by the fucking way. And I'm also very media savvy, and I can tell you a lot of things if you want to know. And I do every fucking night. Let's go to Tam Bam in South Africa. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Tell us about TikTok, my friend. How are you, Tam Bam?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. You know me. Just sipping some beers, talking about crazy shit. Welcome. How much of the show have you caught? I know you caught me shitting on TikTok a little bit, but you probably didn't catch me not shitting on TikTok. I was kind of I was propping it up. Did you catch that part too?
No, I in and out, because it's a school day. It's rush day. It's rush morning, lunch, breakfast. Get the kid off. Bye. See you later. Have a break. All right.
Get out of here. Hey, I'm talking here. I'm walking here. All right. Okay. So you didn't catch. So let me preface just so you don't go full scorched earth on me. I said previously, because we disagree here, but it's okay. But I want to tell you what I said previously that you probably caught or didn't catch. I said, look, TikTok is good because I could be on TikTok. You could be on TikTok. This conversation could be on TikTok. It's a good thing, right? And so I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the platform itself is, let's say, negative in itself, okay? I'm saying that the way that the algorithms push sort of this idea that people that have mental health issues are pushed to the top of the game is problematic because our heroes become diminutive instead of the 12 labors of Hercules. Sort of my point in a nutshell. As you know, we've been talking about this for hours, so that's just kind of breaking it down for you. Go right ahead. What are your thoughts on this? And also, by the way, this original article from the New York Post, which again is a propaganda source, by the way, says that the TikTok alone, the hashtag BDP, borderline personality disorder, has 3.7 billion views. Hashtag bipolar has 2 billion views, and hashtag DID, dissociative identity disorder, has another 1.5 billion views. And this is the craziest part. That people are actually becoming, following these folks for mental health advice and actually gaining, what would you say, tics, actual like they have Tourette's syndrome, saying the word beans or in an English accent when they don't even speak English. Anyway, go right ahead. To way too much me talking. This is your time, Tim. Go right ahead.
It's okay. Okay, so I'm pro and negative TikTok in the same sense as you. So I think it's great that we get to talk about it. So when it comes to that kind of side where you are deciding if you're on the spectrum of ADHD or ADD or Tourette's or whatever, there's three. Let me explain this. So TikTok, it has become this web. It started off as this certain thing, and it is deep. It's rooted in deep down. It's gone into these different sections and levels of different things. So it depends what your interests are. Obviously, that's what will show up mostly to you. It depends what TikToks you're interested or what you watch a lot, then it will show up in your feed. It's a very similar algorithm to the rest of social media. So, when it comes to ADD or any kind of mental issues, there are three sides. There is the therapy side, there's awareness, and then you do it for clout. So the therapy side is where people come on and actually their therapist has said, you need to talk about this in some kind of form, either write it in a journal, or you go and have a social media account, you get like-minded people and you talk the shit out with people. And you kind of get your own little following where you can express and how you go about your daily life. So you don't have this loneliness of, oh, I'm the only one suffering with this. You have that. Then you have people who are indirectly or directly associated with people who have some kind of mental issue. And they are trying to create awareness. And through that awareness comes maybe like a charity organization where you can get involved in, or you can actually keep it as it is. Just, doctors go on TikTok as well to create awareness. People who are also suffering from these things are wildly create an awareness as in, this is how we are. Don't judge us for how we are. Accept us as human beings, but this is what we're suffering with. Something that I find that's really, really relevant is diseases that you can't see. So you see this normal person, but inside they're really suffering, whether it be diabetes or whatever the case is. And these people they go on TikTok and they explain what it's like living like this. And instead of, for me, it's more like, jeepers, like I never knew. I'm so glad you told me. I'm now specially aware, right? Then you get the other people who are just damn fucking awful about it. And they'll say horrible things. I mean, there's one girl she's actually from South Africa. She's got a good following and she's verified. And she was talking about how she was diagnosed with cancer, whatever. And she got a comment that said, well, the cancer should have won. And I thought, motherfucker. Yeah.
No, this is what I mean too. Like part of the problem is that you get sick fucks like that say shit like this. But then also on the other end of the spectrum, right? Like I said, we're literally talking about like a very tiny demographic of people. I'm not saying that people don't get cancer. I'm saying that like people. Yeah. I'm saying that the demographic I'm speaking of that get cancer and have a YouTube or a TikTok video talking about are extremely small. Yeah. Because of course, literally, like the whole, like if you have cancer, all you need is your strength. And if you go on social media with your cancer diagnosis and your journey, you're going to get a lot of love, but you're also going to get a fuck ton of hate because people are just disgusting. Right. And so that's my point. So I'm not saying that people don't get cancer. I'm saying that like the demographic of people that have an actual either cancer or like dissociative disorder, whatever's going on here, and are on social media and can handle that pressure, that is incredibly small. Incredibly small. No, because like you said to me, you're like, hey, Michael, because nobody has platinum balls like you do. And so I appreciate that comment. You said that a couple nights ago, kind of in the after show chat. Yeah. But look, you have to look, if you're on social media and you put your face up here and you do the thing, you have to have brass balls, period. Yeah. And if I tell you, look, if I got cancer tomorrow, I wouldn't come back. Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of positivity, but there's enough negativity to not make me where I need to be mentally, to tackle that, to handle that. And I may not win that fight because many people do not. And God willing, cross your fingers, that's not the case. All right. But I'm just telling you, if you're on social media and you got your face up here and you're saying things off the cuff, off script, the whole fucking thing, you got to have brass balls. You have to. But again, if you literally, what happened, God forbid, let's say you were sick, Tam. Would you hop on here and be like, let's talk about why I'm sick and talk about the struggles I'm going through? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that inviting the negativity because of sick fucking people like you just described? Oh, the cancer should have won. Fuck off, you stupid fucks. Like that. And that person was probably 12. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. I don't know. I couldn't do it. Sure. I couldn't do it. I couldn't fucking do it.
I couldn't do it either. I wouldn't be brave enough. And besides, I couldn't handle the extra drama from people you don't even fucking know.
Exactly.
So that is not even. Yeah. So anyways, I'm just explaining like the basics of how it kind of works and what I've been noticing a lot. And so there's this one girl on TikTok. Now this girl, I don't know. I kind of want to punch her in the face, but I also, she's so good at what she does. So she started her TikTok and she was pretty normal. And then all of a sudden she got Tourette's. And then her videos were now stuttering and with Tourette's and doing baking stuff where she was throwing out profanity, like, it's a very difficult disease to have. So she was doing all these things. And I thought, my girl, how come your first videos, I mean, it wasn't exactly 1 or 2, it was like 6 or 7 videos were normal. So there are people people who are following her saying it doesn't always, you have days. It doesn't always happen every day. And I just thought to myself, you're a fucking idiot. This is actual disease. It happens all the time. It doesn't choose which day. It doesn't choose which time. It's something that you wake up with, you go to bed with, right? And this girl, I feel I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I'm struggling. I really think she's making an absolute mockery just to gain clout and also attention. Now that is my problem. If you're going to get attention from mocking someone else's very difficult life, I actually want to punch you in the throat.
Yes, twice. And then put my boot on your neck. Boot on your neck. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. That's the whole idea. That, like I said, LARPing. But how about this? How about in the same instance, from the other side of the coin, how about if you're faking being sick for attention? Don't you want to put
That's
your
what
boot?
I'm saying.
Yeah, don't put your boot on that person's neck. Come on. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same. It's like, come on. Like, this is super fucked. Like, this is the world we live in, right? It's like, hey, you can't get attention based on, like, your brain. And let me tell you, right? Like, let me tell you, Sam, I'm a good looking dude. Let me tell you. And I mean that because...
Jennifer and I know.
Thank you. That's very nice. And I'm not trying to make you to say that. I'm just saying, like, look, I've got that attention in my life. But I'm telling you also, this is not about any of that. This is about the thoughts in my head. This is about coming together and being like, no, the world is not like you fucking perceive it to be. Because all of that shit doesn't mean a goddamn thing. All right? Even though our body tells us different, even though the idea of all of that tells us to think differently or to consider things differently, it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Because the things we're talking about, the ideas in my head are far more important than any meat suit. And it doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter what you look like, what anybody looks like. But if we're faking sickness for attention, we got a big fucking problem. We got a serious fucking problem. Right? Like, come on now.
I mean, how fucking desperate are you? Seriously. I mean, listen, it's all in context, right? I don't know what's happening in that person's lives, those people's lives, that they want to do this. I don't get it. Maybe they have had a difficult life and no one's giving them attempt, whatever the case is. But still, you've got to be some kind of desensitized person to actually do this. It's horrific. And it looks bad. It's shameful. And they get a lot of fucking hate for this. But then on the other side, they get a lot of support because you get ignorant people who believe that they're really, really sick. And then those TikTokers pry on their kindness, and then like send me gifts, send me this, send me that. And then it's just a never ending like hole of negativity. That's the one side of TikTok. The other side, there's a learning side. There's actual people out there who are willing to help. There's people out there who want you to have financial freedom, who want you to be your best self, who give you free tutorials, who are there to listen, who message you and say, "Are you okay?" And these are perfect strangers. So it's a double-sided coin with everything.
With everything. All right, perfect. That's kinda, because I know you and I respect you and you're very, very smart, kind of what I expected you to say. like I said previously too, we agree in that, hey, TikTok in and of itself isn't like the devil, but because we can be on TikTok, I could be on TikTok, right? And so I don't consider myself the devil. I don't consider you the devil. So if they allow us there, that's a good thing. All right.
But you should, because there's a whole section of alien UFO dudes everywhere. And they haven't shut those accounts down. I can guarantee you the government fucking doesn't care what you know. They care about what you can prove. And that's the bottom line. So there's people who post all these stuff. If there's a video that goes against their guidelines, they'll take that video down. But there's a profanity list. If you could do a live and there's nakedness and it's underaged or whatever, that's when they delete your account. So there is that. You can do it. It's possible, and you'll get a lot of followers because there are a ton of people who are interested in the truth. A ton. And there's a ton of people trying to get the truth out. A ton. There's even a fucking guy, listen to this shit, who, and I think I've told you before, but he's like a demon hunter, but not in demon as in a jinn or a ghost. He hunts vampires. And he'll explain to you, and it's so realistic. He'll explain to you how he went here, or this is their local hangout, or, these are the objects you must use, and garlic doesn't work, but this works. And it's like a whole thing. And he seems so legit, right? And I can't really tell if he's really a vampire hunter or not, because you never know, right? So anyway, there's this whole crowd of people. It depends just which side or which level of TikTok you land on, or what your interests are. And that takes time. It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, my TikTok is so fucking confused. I mean, I'm confused on a daily basis.
All right. Hey, don't do the dirty stuff on. Do you have a TikTok account, by the way?
I do have a TikTok account, and no, I'm not. I'm too shy to do that shit. I barely show neck.
You're not barely neck like me. Look, go back. Hold on.
I can't see you.
Yeah, I just backed up so you can see a little bit more of my neck, a bit below my neck. I'm wearing a white shirt.
Someone take a screenshot.
Yeah, someone take
Jennifer
a screenshot. And me. It's all Jesus. Again, don't make me put the GIF up there, the embarrassed GIF. Okay, but okay, all right. Look, so point being is like again, back to all of this. It's like I get it that like people are searching for something, right? People are searching for. Right, like connections. And so like faking illnesses to have connections is literally the sign of a broken society, right? Literally the sign of a broken society. I mean,
yeah.
How the fuck are we going to fake illnesses so we can connect with people? Is this where we're at?
It's monetary value. It's at the end of the day, it's all about the gifts. So in TikTok, you buy gifts, and you use money, and it turns into coins, and you choose a gift of a certain value, and then you give it to these people, these perfect strangers who claim that they're sick, right? And that's just it's fraud. It's stealing.
Fraud, exactly. At some point too. Here's the craziest part, right? So fraud is exactly what it is, but it's not like sort of fraud like you would expect from I don't know, like I don't know, Bernie Madoff, like that kind of fraud, right? Like the Ponzi scheme, not that kind of fraud. It's like spiritual fraud. Like we're literally, and again, and this is why I hate religious institutions too, by the way. If you didn't know this about me, me personally, I will defend religious institutions because I think that type of discussion is important. However, in the same vein, religious institutions that commit that same level of like spiritual fraud to me, to like extort you of money you don't have because they are the way to Jesus, pisses me off unbelievably. But again, remember, two things can be true at the same time. Both of those things. I can defend their right to say what they need to say, but also they can also be frauds. You get it? Two things can be true. I do. Yes. All right. There you go.
Okay, so I have a perfectly good example for that. And this is the misconception that is in the churches today, and is also one of the reasons why I don't go to church. But I love Jesus, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So in the Old Testament is the only time where you give your tithing, which is your 10%. And that was only in the time where the Jews did it. It was a Jewish custom in the Old Testament. Christians who follow Jesus do not have to do that. We don't do that. It doesn't mean fucking nothing to God. I promise you now, it means nothing. Your works mean nothing. It is an Old Testament, and the Old Testament has over 600 rules. And that's why Jesus came, actually, to simplify getting into heaven, basically. But because you can't be perfect. No one's perfect. We're all sinful. And you can't follow 600 rules. No one can do that. So that is just basically what the misconception. So if they ask you for money, like those televangelists, they need a throat chop from me. I mean,
what's the love everybody, but also master the throat punch or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or the two fingers in the eye, snake poke. I don't know.
Something. Now you did it. Now you just got us taken off the internet. Hey,
shit.
No, you're fine.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. Hey. So I want to say 54 people currently watching on Rockfin. Does anybody who's never seen this before or never actually chimed in the chat? Anybody want to pop in there and say hi that I've never seen? Interesting. What's up? Crab Apple sending a tip. Thank you. That's very kind. No, how about somebody new? Double plus good. Thank you, Crab Apple. You're the best. How about somebody 54 watching? Anybody new want to at least just come in the chat and say hi? Hey, I've been watching for a little bit. This, that, the other. How'd you find the show? I'm a semi-pro conspiracy theorist, so you know what I'm fucking thinking. If there's 55 people watching but nobody chatting, you know exactly what I'm fucking thinking. You know exactly what I'm fucking thinking. Hey, what's up, guys out there? I see it with Kelly, Crabapple, Robert's there, Ronald's there, but they're always there. And thank you to you guys as well for always being there. But what about all these new people? What's up, guys? Anybody want to boom boom? I'm just saying, hey, if we get a bunch of new people like right now, I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
I'll show my neck.
I could always be. You can show your neck. I'll show my neck too. There you go. I just showed my neck. Ah, shit! I didn't shave the little hair I got on my top of my neck. No, I'm just kidding. All right,
that's a deal breaker.
Exactly. Hey, I don't have hairy toes either. All right. Anyway, let's get the hell out of here. Let's do it. And what's up to all the 55 people on Rockfin? What's up? I see you.
I just have got 2 more points to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead. No. The time is your time. Go ahead, Tim. You talk. I'm going to step away for 30 seconds, but I'm listening. I'll put you on speakers. Be right back. Go right ahead.
Okay. So something new, and I never really thought it would come to fruition, but in South Africa, we've always had like freedom of speech to a point. Okay, so we couldn't. There's because of the apartheid. So now they've actually brought in a law so sneakily, it flew past everybody's radar, and I mean everybody's radar, that our freedom of speech has now been halted. So much so that there's an actual branch in the government, and it's a big thing, where every post, everything you say, everything you do on social media goes through this section of government. Now, apparently, Facebook, Meta, and TikTok have all signed an agreement with the South African government that everything goes through this. It's called the FPA or something like that. And you can, they will choose if you can post your stuff now. So that's one thing. On the other side, if you do have posts already up, they are going to search and track you and just gloriously waste their time. And then if you do get caught with something that goes against South African law, speaking against the government, or anything that goes against South Africa in general in itself, the people and everything in it, you can get up to 100,000 Rand fine, which is about, fuck knows, whatever dollars it is. But it's a shitload of money. And or 6 months in jail.
Right.
Now, 6 months in jail is pretty much the same as going to a Mexican jail. It's hectic.
It's not good. Not a good spot. You don't want to be there.
So this is where we are. And everybody is shitting themselves so badly. We have choice. We can choose if we don't want to get the thing in the arm or not. You know the thing?
The thing, yeah, the thing you can't say, right? The thing you can't say unless you're anti-science. Yeah, that thing.
Exactly.
And again, look, this is part of the problem. We can't even fucking speak plainly anymore. And they're like, oh, by the way, we value free speech. No, fuck you. If we say the wrong thing, they're going to do what you just said. And this is, again, they just did it. Like Robert said on Rockfin, they just did this shit to the Canadian truckers. They just fucking kicked in the doors, towed their trucks, and arrested these people for actually
and the
just
people
protesting.
Who supported them.
Yeah, for just protesting, peaceful protests, and then you said,
of course,
peaceful discussion.
And you know why?
Why? Tell me why.
Social media.
Yeah.
Because now we have another voice that can get out to the world faster. So they want to stop that very fast. We don't want you to know what's happening in our country. We've got everything locked down and secure. Our people are happy in their little bubble. Now you want to come and say horrible things and awaken our people. We're not going to allow that. So let's clamp down. Oh, so bizarre.
Yeah, it's all fucked up, isn't it? Is it accurate to say we live in the upside down, Tambam?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm definitely inside out and upside down
and twisted sideways and about to get kicked off the cliff, because it feels like that's what they want to do to all of us, because we're like, wait, hold on, let's slow down, let's talk about this, let's not just like gaslight the fuck out of everybody because you're racist because you don't believe some political ideology, right? That right there is bigoted in and of itself, by the way. It is so it's like,
and like conspiracy theory and theorists is now become conspiracy reality, right? But it's still an itch you cannot scratch, or an itch you're not allowed to scratch, because God forbid you have a fucking opinion.
God forbid. God forbid we be wrong or we be right. Again, like I said, and I say this, right? We're all wrong. It's part of also being right sometimes. You have to be wrong. That's it, right? And we also, as a human beings, we should be allowed to be wrong. But that's not the way. Listen, like, and this is the thing, right? The parties that are like the party line, they're like, oh, once you step afoul of that party line, well, you're a criminal. You're a thought criminal, right? And that's a problem with that. There's a serious problem with that. And they don't see it that way because they're so fucking indoctrinated well, here's the thing too, by the way, look, speaking of brass balls, right? We were talking about a little bit a ways ago, right? Look, there's an open phone line. Like, you could fucking call me at any time and tell me I'm full of shit. But you know why I don't get a lot of that? Because
you're a truth teller.
Well, because like, I can handle their rhetoric. I can handle when somebody calls in with a bunch of propaganda, like talking points, and tries to tell me I'm a fucking racist when they don't know me. I can handle that. Many people can't. I can. And so, hey, open line, transparency. Call Don Lemon or Sean Hannity. They'll never fucking let you on the show because you're going to say something sideways, and they don't have time for that. I do. And I'll make time for that. And by the way, I'll fucking destroy you. Challenge. Draw the line in the sand. I'll fucking destroy you. If you want to come do that to me, you want to gaslight me, hey, rhetorical speech, I got it in spades. Let's do it. But I'll also tell you the difference between rhetoric and flat out lies and gaslighting. I'll be able to tell you the difference. Many people can't. I can. Line in the sand.
You can. Yeah,
702
well, this is why
957-1037. And this is not even like a contentious space. Where are all the haters?
Yeah, why aren't they calling? You give me the number. You just give us.
I give the number all the damn time. Where are the haters? Where are the so-called communists, or the so-called capitalists, or the lefties or the righties? Where are they? Nobody's coming at me. Nobody's coming at me. Not yet, right? I'm telling you, once we get on the radar, Tam Bam, they're going to start coming at me. And I will fucking handle people like you will be high-fiving me, and it'll be like, boom.
But the irony is, Michael, they think you're the minority, but you're not. You're the majority.
Yes, we are the majority. Not me. We are the majority.
We.
Exactly, yes. Yes.
That's the thing.
Indeed. Let's get the fuck out of here. It's been a long ass show. 63 viewers on Rockfin. Hey, we got all these new people. Can somebody new in the chat on Rockfin please say hello? So my conspiracy mind doesn't go full on a tinfoil.
Okay. Can somebody new on Rockfin please tell me if my voice and accent annoy you, or if it's podcast worthy? Because I'm still on that.
There you go. There it is. All right. Yeah, we know Tam Bam's voice is what it is, but if you're
need a poll.
If you're a Russian bot, well, maybe you don't know. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Your final thought, Tam Bam? I think we're okay. Phone lines are clear. I think we got Daryl still here. You want to? You got anything for Tam Bam, Daryl, before we take off? Daryl in New York. Maybe not. She might be.
I think she fell asleep.
It's possible. It's always possible.
Oh, my voice does that.
Yeah, it happens. We're all human. We're allowed. There you go. 416 cubes. I'm pissed off. I'm up late again. Oh, there we go. We got a Daryl. We got a wild Daryl. Welcome back, Daryl. Go right ahead. Let's get your final thoughts tonight, and let's smash this thing so I can go lay down and drink some more beer.
I'm so overwhelmed by what Tam Bam said. I am afraid that we have something going on similar in our country. I found out today a post that I made April in 2021 put me in Facebook jail for 29 days. I can't post anything. I can't interact with groups, and I can't remember the other thing. Something I posted in April last year. Now they're coming after me for that? It was something I promoted a show that on Beyond the Screen.
They're coming after you. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I can't believe this. David Cruz was interviewing my doctor who gave me ozone treatments I was trying to be proactive against COVID. I got ozone treatments. I thought it was, I thought I was going to be in danger. At the time, they made it sound like we were all going to catch it and die. So I thought this is being proactive, so I got the ozone to prevent it. And I wrote that it was good for treating COVID. Now they came after me a year later, well, almost 11 months later, and took down the post, didn't give me a chance to, I could have removed that statement, Why didn't you
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because recently there's been a whole bunch of buzz about ozone, because now doctors have been using ozone, which, by the way, is some kind of, I think it's hydrogen peroxide in 3% hydrogen peroxide, right? Usually use it as an external therapy, but now the doctors are intravenously putting these in patients, and it's a big buzz.
Ozone is a gas, but it's a liquid, it's a gas. I don't understand it either. But it purifies your blood. It oxygenates your blood. And you do get it intravenously. You do get, that's the way you give it. It's intravenous.
Well, hold on. There is a lot, and I do this kind of research. There is no definitive evidence that there's always the 50% that it works really well for, and there's always the 50% that it doesn't, right? And then you get the 5% who it really doesn't work for, and they don't like that number, especially when there's deaths involved, and there has been. So that's the whole.
I don't know if we're talking about the same thing then. I'm sure we're not, because it's not hydrogen peroxide. It's definitely not hydrogen peroxide. Something totally different. I think we're talking about the same thing. It's major medicine. I mean, they use it actually in hospitals. Before or after an operation to make sure that they don't get infections. It's very good for antibacterial, parasites, whatever. It'll pretty much, kill anything that's invading your bloodstream.
Yes, that's in hospital.
It's oxygenated, it oxygenates your blood. To be honest, the side effects are kind of excellent. You feel really good on it. You don't really know if it's curing your condition or whatever you're having, but it actually helped me a lot with what I was, incidentally, I wasn't going there for that, but it actually kind of put my Morgellons in remission. I have no other reason for why I don't have symptoms anymore, and I have to kind of give it to the ozone.
But then you're the lucky one. Then you're one of the lucky ones who will promote it, but then there's the others who have died. And that's the problem.
I think we're talking about the same thing, because I don't think there's been any deaths from the ozone. I don't know.
I'll find that article for you.
Okay, all right. Ladies, this is for another time. This is for another time. Please share this.
We're not recommending anything.
Yeah. We're not doctors. Please, if you change your diet or any of the rest of that, please consult your doctors. All the rest of that stuff. So also, by the way, another time we've got the Discord. If you want to continue, this conversation continues. This is not like I'm calling this the great conversation anymore, because they used to say that back in the 50s, the 40s, 30s. Well, this is the new great conversation, and it continues night after night after night. And so come join the Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. You can both Daryl and Tam Bam are there, and you can come say hi and follow these links and all the rest of this stuff. So just if you have ideas on this, come share your ideas, and that's that. Let's roll it, ladies. Let's get the hell out of here. We are super late, super long. Final thoughts.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
No.
We do it because nobody tells us when to stop, and that's the point, right? That's the point.
Well,
if you got things to say, we got time for you. But let's wrap it for another night. Let's go, Daryl. Give us your final thoughts, and we'll go Tam Bam, and then we'll wrap this MFR up. Does anybody have an outro for us, actually?
I do.
Tam Bam does.
All right. Go ahead, Daryl. You're first. We'll go to Tam Bam next, and let's wrap this.
Thank you for having the show. Thank you for being so good and so generous and being yourself. You're the best, Michael. We love you. You're the best.
Thank you, and back to you as well. You are also the best, and like I said, I'm me, you're you, together we're us, and so I think us are the best, 100%. Thanks for being part of it. You're the best. Tam Bam, I'm gonna. You want your final thoughts, and then the music, or you just want the music right now? You tell me.
Oh, just the music is cool.
Okay, all right. There you go. See, we take requests. Here we go. Just the music. Wait for the bass to drop.
Oh.
All right. Here we go. Outro by Tam Bam. Links in the description, both for Daryl and Tam Bam. Follow Tam Bam's Instagram. Follow Daryl's YouTube channel. Go links in the description. And here we go. Outro by Tam Bam. Wait for the bass to drop.
Many of our fears are tissue paper thin, and a single courageous step would carry us clear through them. And that's by Brendan Francis.
I love it. Very fitting for tonight, and that's what this is all about. Thanks again to everybody. Philip in New Jersey, there on YouTube, says, I've been listening to your show on Spotify for a couple months. Love it, guys. Keep up the awesome work. You see what he did there? And thank you, Philip, for hanging out. Thanks for coming to say hi. Love it, guys. Us. I'm me, you're you, together we're us, right? Like, this is what this is all about. I'm telling you, trust me, you have a voice. Do not let anybody out there rob you of it. You can be wrong. We can be wrong. I can be wrong. All right? Don't let anybody ever rob you of your voice by gaslighting you and telling you you're outside the party line. Hey, come talk to me. I'll set you straight. I'll tell you you're okay. All right? And also, those assholes that would gaslight us and tell us we are less than people for disagreeing with them, also send them to me. 702-957-1037. Brass Balls Hotline, 24/7. Give me a call. There you go. As we get the hell out of here, let's do it. If you want to help the show, spread the word. The old school way is grassroots, spread the word, all right? Meaning, the algorithms right now, they cheat, they steal, they lie, they prop this dude up and drop this dude down, and it's not acceptable. The old school way, spread the word. If you like the show, spread the word, let us know, and let everybody else know, and let's get the fuck out. It goes a little something like this. Rockfin, you can sub up. Twitch, you can sub up. Patreon, you can sub up. If you like the show, troubleminds.org is the official website. You can find all those links there. Let's get the hell out of here. It goes like this. Exactly like this. You want to do it, Tam?
Yeah, be sure, be strong, and be true.
Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.
Oh, kids need a paper towel. They're not tissue thin.
What?
Tam Bam said, your fears are tissue paper thin. My fears need Bounty,
Oh, Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Change the tissue for my fears. You need a paper towel.
Exactly. All right. We'll be back tomorrow night. Night Stalker's going to be on the show. We got a banger for you tomorrow night, of course. So 7 p.m. Pacific, more Troubled Minds. God willing, we've got tomorrow. Have a fantastic one, guys. Thanks for spending your time and energy. That's the most important thing. Have a good one. 1, 2, 3. Troubled Minds out.